Someone approaches Mr. Aziz and asks how long he's been there. The guy replies that he can't sleep, so he decided to take a walk. And the guard cannot worry because soon he will go inside, after which he agrees. He also claims that the morning star is very bright today and the weather is fine. His interlocutor replies that it is, and that's why he likes to go for walks at such times. He also remembers that there was a legend associated with Venus. When it is as bright as today, the incarnation of the goddess Ashtar will appear, and he will save the man who will become the greatest sultan. The knight then says that this is a made-up story. Aziz replies that he knows it is hard to believe, which is why she is considered a legend. However, he still awaits the incarnation of the goddess Ashtar, who has a beautiful soul. At this time, the girl is under the blanket in the middle of the room, after which she goes to the mirror. And looking at her face, she wonders if this is really her, and how it's possible the young lady realizes that this world could clearly be a dream. But when she pinches her cheek, she feels pain and realizes that she is not dreaming. At this time, someone else turns to the girl and says that he recognizes her courage since she entered his room alone. After which, the man puts the young lady's sword to her throat and asks who she is. The main character wonders when he managed to wake up and realizes that he is the second prince of the kingdom of Ashtar, the capital's ruler, as well as Suleiman. The man claims he immediately found this strange. After all, he slept much more soundly than usual, and he also wondered if the girl had slipped him a sleeping pill. After which, he also asks why she is silent, and the girl understands that she does not know how to explain everything, and the fact that he woke up so suddenly was unexpected in itself. And the girl also thinks it's strange to worry about such a thing in a situation like this. But couldn't he cover himself with something? She can't concentrate. The man comes closer and asks who brought the girl there, and could it really have been those irritating elders again? The young lady shakes her head, realizing he's mistaken. They didn't bring her. But she doesn't understand at all how she ended up in such a situation, after which the guy claims that it seems she decided to avoid responsibility without knowing anything. It's a very serious crime to want you into his bedroom without permission, so it won't be a problem to take her head right now. The main character then wonders if she will really fall into eternal sleep there in the prime of her life. The girl suddenly fell into eternal sleep and started a new life, but she does not want to fall into eternal sleep again in vain. Well then, the man notices the bell on the girl's neck and says that this is a sign that she is the property of the Sultan. After which, he also asks if this thing is from his mother and not from the elders. And did the girl really come to spend the night with him? The main character is only embarrassed after this, wondering what he means by this. And also, how is this possible? Because it makes no sense, after which she shakes her head. The prince claims that it looks like she is not going to open her mouth until the very end, and since she will not speak, he will have to take her to the torture chamber. The young lady then wonders if she misheard, and whether she will be put in the electric chair, like in the movies. Therefore, the girl understands that if she does not say at least a word, she will fall into eternal sleep. So she meows in despair, but then she immediately closes her mouth and realizes she's changed her mind and would have been better off falling into eternal sleep. Well, the girl understands that she still doesn't want this outcome, and they say that life is a series of unpredictable events. But it's hard to believe such absurdity, because if she doesn't say it, he won't listen to her, and she's a simple girl who lived a boring life. A little while later, the cat jumps around the market, and someone screams where it came from. The lady realizes that she has entered a world she has never seen before, and has turned into a cat. At this time, one of the men screams that the cat ran there, and that they should chase it into the alley. After which, the cat runs into the deaf cat, and then turns to these people and meows as if telling them not to come closer. One of the people then says, "What a nimble little thing this is," but the game of catch-up is over. The main character wonders if 3 huge people are really chasing a small cat. After which, she meows furiously as if telling them to feed her better, and she will strangle these petty idiots. But then the girl also realizes that cats don't have toes. One of the men, meanwhile, is touched by the cat. Then he turns to the leader and says that she's so small and cute, so he might as well let her go. But the other man replies that there's no point, and she wonders if he heard what the elder said, because the government is looking for cats. This cat has white fur and different colored eyes, which is why it's so rare. The protagonist realizes this is her chance and needs to try to escape. She realizes there's a dead end behind her, but she can jump onto a low wall, so it's good that there's a box there to push off from. The cat immediately heads to the box, then jumps on it and thinks that everything is so simple. The main character pushes off the box and jumps onto the wall. At this point, she screams at the men, asking what she's doing and telling them to stop right now. But the cat jumps onto the wall and thinks, "Let these fools not even dream about it!" When the girl already grabs the edge of the wall, then suddenly her paw slips and she starts to fall. And she also thinks that this can't be happening and she needs to run away. A short time later, the young lady is already thrashing her tail against the cage. One of the guards comments on how tiring it is and whether it's normal that she's still angry. The other man replies that it doesn't matter and that he should just ignore the cat. At this time, the main character thinks that these idiots should give her back her freedom because she is not a stray cat, but actually a person. A little while ago, the girl realized that she could finally rest without any worries. She was completely happy to just lie there without any unnecessary thoughts. But then she suddenly realized that she couldn't waste her precious time like this, and it was unlikely to happen again soon. So she's going to watch all the movies she's been putting off, and one of them is that even in the harem, he always loved only one woman. The lady also thought that maybe she should grab some snacks before starting, but suddenly realized that her vision was starting to darken, after which the girl felt a sharp pain in her heart. And unfortunately, these were the last memories from her homeworld. Suddenly, without warning, her life ended. Maru was her only family member, and the girl wonders who will take care of him if she falls into eternal sleep. A short time later, the young lady wakes up and realizes that she dozed off for a second, after which she also wonders how long she's been sitting in this cage. Lady realizes that all she can hear around her is howling and the sounds of other cats. They drowned out Maru's crying, the voice ringing in her head, and it seemed that after falling into eternal sleep, the girl found herself in some kind of fictitious story. I also received the body of a fragile kitten. Living on the street for the last 2 weeks has been very difficult, and perhaps this prison is a little safer. Well, then the girl recalls the words of the human leader about the ruler looking for a cat, and therefore they cannot pass up such an opportunity. And she realizes she needs to try. The girl doesn't know what it's all about, but her life will be better if she becomes the Sultan's cat. Therefore, she understands that she can take a risk and make the ruler her servant, and he will also live in wealth forever and fulfill his dream. A short time later, the girl awakens to a delicious smell. She immediately gets up from her seat and realizes that such a smell can only mean that there is cooked meat nearby. At this time, one of the guards says that the cat has come to life, after which he asks if she wants some meat. The girl immediately nods, as if telling him to hurry up and give her that meat. But the man then laughs and tells the cat not to even dream about it. After all, it's his meat, and if she wants meat so much, then let her find it herself. The main character is shocked, wondering if he's really making fun of her, because she looks like a cat. But at that very moment, someone turns to the guy and asks what he's pretending to do there. Evelyn has arrived. The guy then throws down the meat and says he was just playing with the cat, and the young lady looks at the meat. She wonders what kind of delicious thing this is, and how such a poor cat will need it, after which the girl realizes that she needs to reach a little further. But at that very moment, someone steps on the meat and says that there is trash scattered all over the place. The main character looks at this guy and thinks, "What kind of trash is this? Because this is her food." The man at this time reaches out to the cat and asks if she is the one who best fits the description. The girl then wonders what he's doing. Well, the guy claims he can't believe that this piece of trash is the legendary cat. The young lady is only angry about this and thinks how dare he, and the guy claims that this is the only cat with different eyes. After which he says okay, and they take the thing and leave the main character, then ponders what he said, and then is completely overjoyed that she was chosen. A little while later, the cat is already heading off in a carriage and thinks that it's good that she was released so quickly. Well, she also understands that no one has yet explained to her why she is needed, and that suddenly it will be connected with sacrifices. But a little while later, someone says that they are in place and can go, and the fabric in front of the cat opens. The lady in front of her tells the sweet kitty not to be afraid and to come to her. The main character looking at this rich interior wonders if she's dreaming. The girl also realizes she can't believe she's arrived in such a place. She also sees a diamond on a column and wonders if it's really that red diamond, even though they say it's the most precious stone. The maid then tells the cat to wait, but she just jumps off and heads towards the column. and she understands that the place is good, but she doesn't know when they might kick her out, so it's better to be prepared. And if she takes one, then she won't have to worry about anything for the rest of her life, and she also needs to find a place for the dory to go home to. It may be long, but the girl understands that she will not return to the street, after which she prepares to jump. And then everyone jumps on him but not high enough, and he realizes that, unfortunately, she is too small. After which the cat starts crawling down, and the maid says how cute it is. At this time, someone else says what an interesting cat from the prophecy is, and they finally met. One of the servants at this time turns to the mister and asks if he is sure that this is the same cat. After all, in his eyes, it's just a dirty, vile animal. So the man says no, and he's sure. After all, this is the incarnation of Ashtar he was waiting for. And this is the goddess's guardian who will protect their new sultans. The guy also apologizes for introducing himself so late, after which he claims that his name is Aziz, and he is the priest of this palace. The guy claims that he was waiting for the cat from the prophecy, or better yet, a foreigner. The guy also claims that they don't talk about such things on the street, so he suggests going inside. And the main character wonders if this guy really knows that she is human and what is going on. A short time later, the man places the cat on a soft pillow and claims that there is a legend in their kingdom. After all, a long time ago, the country was plunged into a long drought, and all the springs dried up. The streets were filled with sadness from the endless epidemic, and when all sounds of life had almost died down, then the goddess of water took pity on the inhabitants of the kingdom that protected her, and also used her power and saved the country. Everyone wanted her to stay with them, but this wish was not destined to come true. Before leaving, she promised one thing, and that was that when Venus would shine brightest, the incarnation of the goddess with a beautiful soul would come to them. This is the one who will save the greatest sultan, and the incarnation will appear in the form of a cat, which is why he asked to look. But it seems the cat doesn't really believe it, after which the main character wonders if he himself would believe it. It's strange that the goddess's messenger is a cat, and shouldn't a person with a beautiful soul look different? After all, it could be a cheerful young lady who resembles a saint, her in her past life or in this one. The girl thinks that a beautiful soul only concerns the main characters of fairy tales, but she can't even dream of such a thing because she is a person who thinks only about survival every day. So she understands that her life can't be a fairy tale. At this point, the guy touches the cat's forehead, and he also claims that it seems he touched on too difficult a topic, even though he has divine eyes to find the right soul. But he can't read minds, so let the cat not cry. The main character wonders if the stranger is trying to calm her down. It was just like her first meeting with Maru. He immediately showered her with his warmth, so the girl thinks she likes it. Aziz says how touching it is, after which he claims she seems to have trusted him a little. The young lady merely becomes embarrassed and thinks she doesn't know but needs to stop. And anyway, that wasn't what the conversation was about. But at that very moment, the girl's stomach growled, and she thinks how shameful this is, and also why her stomach started growling right now. And of course, she was often hungry, but making such sounds was already too much. Aziz claims that it was his mistake, because first he needed to fill her stomach, after which the guy tells her to wait a minute. And a little while later, all the different dishes are brought to the table, and the man says that he hopes the dear cat will like it. Everything was prepared, especially for her, so let her eat her fill. And if he had known she was so hungry, he would have fed her much sooner. The young lady understands that she doesn't believe in all this nonsense about prophecies, but they treat her this way precisely because of this. The girl also thinks that she hasn't tried delicious food in such a calm environment for a long time, and she changed her mind, because instead of going back to the street and eating scraps, she would stay there in comfort, and it will also correspond to the cat from the prophecy. The man then says that there's a secret about the legend that few know. There is a way for a cat to become human again, so let her just listen to it. The main character then comes into shock and thinks that if there was such a possibility, then she should have said so earlier. The man then claims that it may not be possible to return to the previous state, but it is possible to become human, after which the young lady hits him with a paw. But the man tells her to calm down because he will tell her everything after dinner. This method is at the experimental level, so why not give it a try? After which he asks what she thinks, and the young lady seems to scream that this is not a choice between hot and cold water, because if she could become a person, she would even kiss his ugly face for this. The guy smiling says he'll take that as a positive answer, and then suggests going. The main character wonders where. A little while later, she's already being bathed. One of the maids tells the cat to be patient for a bit, and the other asks if she really doesn't like it that much. The girl understands that she herself would not have wanted to react this way, and understands that she could not have trusted Aziz. A little while later, the cat is already being dried, and the girl realizes that she didn't think that a bath could be so heavy. Once again, she was shoved into the water without any explanation. But then the lady wonders if the guy was lying about her being able to become human. A little while later, Aziz says that the time is almost come, after which he pulls something out of his pocket. And he tells the cat to wait a second, and this collar is a special item that he made himself. So she'll try to eat without taking it off until he tells her to. The main character wonders if they really hung a bell around her neck, and it tastes awful. The guy claims that he understands her thoughts, even though he may seem annoying. Well, it's better to keep him to yourself. He's special. At this point, one of the servants turns to Mr. Aziz, and the guy asks if everything is ready to, which his interlocutor replies that the preparations are finished. Aziz picks up the cat and says that this is great, and now they will go because it is time to become a person. The main character wonders if he will really keep his word, but when they head somewhere, the girl thinks what a strange place this is and whether anyone lives there at all. Well, the girl also understands that she will not lose her chance, and a little while later, she understands that they have come, after which she also thinks she's ready for anything. But when the door to the room opens, the lady wonders why it's so gloomy there. Aziz says that it looks like the cat is worried because she hasn't been to this place. He also introduces the lady to some guy, and the girl wonders who else it is. But Aziz says it's nothing and she shouldn't worry. After all, this guy is still under the influence of sleeping pills, which is why the girl is shocked and wonders how this can be a trifle. At this time, the guy holds it out to the prince and says that in order to become a man, let her wake up the prince with a kiss. The young lady then immediately jumps and scratches the walls, screaming as if asking what the hell he's doing. But the guy tells the cat to calm down, and also claims that it is true that the prophecy is a little strange, and she should have already sensed the curse's energy filling this room. The young lady realizes that if she thinks about it at first glance, it simply seems large and empty, but it is filled with gloom and dark shades, and this makes it a little unpleasant. The kitten also wonders what curse could be causing such sensations. Meanwhile, Aziz insists that this is Suleiman and the second prince's room. He is the most important man in the country, and everyone believes that Suleiman will become the next Sultan. So he understands what the cat feels. Unfortunately, the prince is suffering from some kind of curse. They were unable to make progress in removing it, and therefore hope for the incarnation of the goddess Ashtar. And he is sure that it is a cat, after which the main character wonders if he is really asking the cat to kiss the prince. The man then claims that the choice is hers to believe or not. If the incarnation comes into contact with a person who is suitable for the place of the Sultan, then it can become a person. After which, the guy suggests trying, because all that is needed is a kiss from the incarnation and the prince. But the lady wonders if he is really asking her to rely on some kind of fairy tale. The guy then says that, okay, it's better for them to get to know each other better, so he'll leave them alone. Aziz claims that the prince will not wake up because he is under the influence of a sleeping pill. He will be outside, so the cat should not worry, because no one will enter there. He also wishes the cat good luck and leaves, and the main character wonders why he abandoned her, after which the lady also thinks that it doesn't matter how much she wants to become human. But is it possible to kiss a sleeping man whom she sees for the first time? Although looking at his face, the girl thinks that it is possible and possible. But then she thinks she needs to come to her senses and finish it quickly before he wakes up. After all, with a face like that, you could bring him to his knees. The girl also wonders if she really needs to just kiss him, but she realizes she's never had that, even in human form. However, she also understands that getting her normal battles back is more important. So the first kiss isn't that valuable. The cat also approaches the prince and thinks whether it is enough to close her eyes and touch, after which she intends to do so but realizes she can't. The protagonist wonders why in a world with magic kissing is necessary. Then the girl realizes that she needs to try to change the place, but she still can't think of any. And a little while later, she realizes she's already at her limit, and she hasn't done anything yet, only wet the prince's face. The kitten also still hasn't turned into a human. But then the girl thinks that there is no point in hanging around there all night, so she might as well try and put her pride aside. After which, she finally kisses the prince and realizes that she really did it. The girl realizes it's awkward to put something like that in a cat's body. If it doesn't work, she'll scratch Aziz. But at that very moment, the cat thinks what is happening, because her heart is bursting out of her chest, and she feels so bad because she needs to call Aziz. Well, then she's just getting caught with the bed and the blanket. She also thinks that someone should help her. A little while later, the prince opens his eyes and realizes he doesn't remember falling asleep. And also, when did he manage to get into the bedroom? The guy also realizes that he usually feels so tired after sleep, but today he feels somehow better. However, when the guy touches his face, he notices something wet. He also thinks that it was as if a dog was licking him. And where could the animal have come from? After which, he gets out of bed and sees the girl standing by the mirror. He wonders if this is an invasion and immediately grabs his sword. The guy wonders if this is a mercenary, but he understands that they must be cruel to achieve their goal. He doesn't feel any threat, and it looks more like the work of those stupid old men. After all, they're constantly yelling at the guy to start a harem. The guy realizes that these damn elders are constantly sending him women, and they interfere with his work, and it's so annoying that he will take advantage of this opportunity to ensure that this never happens again. And he drives her away by force, after which the guy presses the ball to the lady's throat and claims that he recognizes her courage since she entered his room alone. He also asks who she is. A short time later, the girl meows loudly, surprising the prince. And the young lady thinks what to do in such a situation, because the only sound she could make was a cat sound. The prince understands that his head is already spinning from this, and he wonders why the girl is meowing and whether she herself really doesn't understand anything. But if she's innocent, what else is he supposed to do? Meanwhile, the main character is trying to make something other than meow. Well, she can't do it, and the lady realizes that she can't speak human language. The man at this time puts the sword back into its sheath and says that it looks like she is not involved in this. But she still entered the royal bedroom without permission, so he has no choice and needs to hold her accountable, so let the lady answer his questions. The main character understands that she cannot answer, even if she wants to, and does not know how long she will be in this state. But at the same moment, the girl feels very bad and thinks what happened. She's got that chest pain again and she's exhausted. The prince, shocked, asks what's wrong with her and asks her to wake up. He also cries out if there's anyone outside. But when he turns around, he sees some smoke and wonders if the girl has really disappeared. The guy lifts the fabric and thinks that he doesn't understand anything, and also what kind of woman it was. At this time, one of the servants cries out that suspicious smoke is coming from the prince's room, and that they should check whether there is a fire or an attack. At this time, the main character runs out the door and thinks that no one noticed it. But the lady does not understand why she became human for such a short period of time. At this moment, someone picks up the lady and says, "Here she is." The girl is surprised and meows. And Aziz says it's lucky the soldiers didn't notice the young lady, then bites the guy. And he thinks about what there is to be happy about, and also whether he wants to know what happened to her because of him. At this point, the guy says that it's so noisy there and suggests leaving before anything happens. He also asks how the meeting with the prince went and whether she turned into a human. The girl understands that this guy is not entirely right because there was little time and everything did not go very well, but she transformed into a person. However, the girl understands that she is not going to say anything to this freak, after which she shakes her head as if denying it. And the guy asks if this is really true, and it's strange because he thought that everything would work out. But one attempt doesn't count, and they'll try again. Aziz uses his strength and says that the lady must be very tired, so let her sleep. The girl understands that she wanted to ask about a lot, but she really wants to sleep, after which the guy thanks the cat. A little while later, they are already heading through the garden, and the girl understands that a lot happened yesterday, but today everything is quiet. Her status was, it was hard to wander around in just the form of a cat. At this point, the guy says that he understands that the cat is sleepy, but let her be patient, because the meeting will be short, and there is nothing to worry about. The girl thinks that if this is some high-ranking person of the palace, then he should look something like this, but she doesn't understand why he liked it. The guy at this point says that he thinks she will like their cat, and then says that it looks like they made her wait. Aziz says this is the most powerful and flamboyant person in the country. the great Sultana. The woman then opens her eyes and says they're a little late while Aziz greets the queen, after which he introduces the cat from the prophecy and says that it seems the lady wanted to see her, so he brought it. The main character realizes that she didn't think she would meet such a person and that she looks so young. The woman then approaches the guy and asks if this cat is really the embodiment of a goddess. The woman claims that her eye color and fur match the legend she's small and cute like a white cloud. The main character thinks things aren't as bad as she expected, and the woman has a beautiful face. The Cotton Queen promptly assures him that he'll be back soon, and they'll discuss everything later. But this guy might be angry that a woman was brought into his room, be it a cat or a rattlesnake. Laughing at the future sultan is a sin worthy of execution. But Aziz says that he will not be intimidated by such things, and he knows the sultan too well. He also tells the queen that this cat understands everything, so she should be more restrained, even if she's joking. The woman then only laughs and says, "What a sweet friend the guy has found." She also asks if it is possible to take her instead of her son, to which the servant replies that this is impossible, since she was given by heaven just for him. The woman claims it would be a shame to give such a sweetheart to this cruel man. The main character wonders if she's talking about her son, and her face reminds her of someone. At this time, someone else approaches them, and the woman says that he really knows how to scare, because he came right away as soon as I started talking about him. At this time, the guy asks what they were discussing behind his back, and the main character wonders if it was really the son they were talking about. This is the guy the red-haired lady greets her only son, whom it's so difficult to meet, and offers him some tea. But the young man only asks if she still doesn't understand that he has been given a very difficult task by the Sultan, to which the woman replies that she cannot help with this. After which, the guy claims that he doesn't expect anything because he is constantly busy with work. After which, he also points to the cat and asks what kind of ball of wool it is. The young lady thinks that he should pretend not to notice, because she doesn't want to date him, and how ignorant it is to call such a sweet creature a ball of fur. Well, the girl understands that he saw her in human form, so it turns out there is no need to worry. The cat looks at the prince, and he realizes that now she is looking at him and smiling suspiciously. He also claims that he has to ask a question before their tea party, after which he says that there was a commotion in the palace last night. The woman replies that she knows, and the chamberlain approached her with such a thoughtful face. After this, the prince says that a woman came into his bedroom, and the main character is completely shocked and thinks that she doesn't even know who it could be. The guy then says that he thinks his mother should be in the know, after which the woman smiles and asks if he is talking about a woman, and also to be interested if Suleiman wants her. He said that he brought her himself. She brought her into his bedroom, which only made the guy angry, and the lady with red hair apologizes and also claims that she has nothing to do with it. The guy says it's clear and she won't say anything more. He also claims that it's rare to see a priest at their tea party, and she asks if he wants to say something, after which the woman says that it is true, and he has interesting news for the guy. After all, the creature he called a ball of fur will be officially accepted among them, so let him treat it with respect. Every heir must have a cat, and this one was very difficult to find because it is prophetic, so it will be very useful to him. The guy asks if they're really talking about this legend again, and he doesn't want to seem biased, but is it worth paying attention to such nonsense? But the priest tells the prince that it is not only about the content of the prophecy, because cats have always been with the sultans, and if the prince keeps her with him, then this will become another support for his power. The young man claims he can defend his right to the throne on his own. But then a number of people ask if he feels better. The guy replies that it's true and asks how he knows about it. Well, the man claims that the cat came to him for a while last night. The main character wonders if she gave him anything other than a kiss. But the priest tells the master to consider it cat magic. Therefore, he recommends that he keep it with him, because it will be useful in many ways, and he will definitely find it useful. After this, the guy says that, okay. And since he says so, there is nothing to argue about, and he will take it hurry. The main character is surprised by this, and thinks, did he really say that he would take it? Her! But a little while later, she lies down and realizes that she has ended up facing such disdain. It seemed to her that everything was going well, but instead of becoming his servant, Suleiman left her there for several days and did not even show his face. Therefore, the girl thinks how she can now become human, and if the body changed that night, then she needs to repeat the actions. But then the lady shakes these thoughts and realizes that this never happened. Well, she also understands that she needs to get closer to him in order to try again. What if she remains human? But at that very moment, the game's protagonist doesn't notice someone staring at her. And then she jumps up screaming at the girl not to scare her. The lady only smiles and claims she was watching the cat play and couldn't help herself. She also claims she can't believe the cat was placed in such a depressing place, and even though she sees her every day, it feels more like a dream. The young lady realizes that this girl's name is Arin. A little while ago, she claimed that her older brother was so busy, and she couldn't meet him because there were no other people her age there. So the cat is like a friend to her, and she should take care of it. The girl understands that the maid told her this on their first meeting. She is younger than her, so the cat thinks that she will consider her her little sister. Arin takes care of her, and she beams at the sight of the cat. The main character thinks they have similar personalities, so she's a little worried about her. Arin says she knew the kitties had nothing better to do, so she grabbed a few things. These are toys that will belong to her. The main character will look at them and realize that she is, after all, an adult inside a cat. And bringing such trinkets is so much fun. A little while later, the girl falls asleep. But then the prince comes into the room and, feeling very ill, lies down on the bed. A little while later, the girl wakes up and realizes that she eventually fell asleep, but it seems Suleiman has come. But at the same moment, the main character inhales the air and thinks what a disgusting energy is hovering in it. But this didn't happen during the day. And this is even worse than last time, because the body is tingling and the young lady wonders if it is really that bad. After which she climbs onto the bed and wonders if the prince has lost consciousness, but his skin color is so bad. The main character realizes that his symptoms are similar to those she had before entering this world. She also recalls that Suleiman suffered from a curse from early childhood, after which she mentally asks him to wake up and not give up. The girl understands that it is not to say that he is a good person, but she cannot allow him to fall into eternal sleep. Then the young lady tries to remove the black thing, and when she touches the guy's body with her paws, it seems to heal, and the young lady screams that he cannot fall into eternal sleep. When she finishes doing this, the guy still doesn't wake up, and the girl understands that she can try again, after which she again hits him on the chest with her paws, and when she looks at his face, she wonders if she really managed to suppress the curse. But he felt better when she was around, and apparently it was the curse that was causing the pain and suffering. At the same moment, the main character begins to feel unwell and realizes that her body is falling apart, after which she collapses onto the bed. The next morning, the prince wakes up, but then he gets up from the bed in surprise and wonders if the pain in his chest has really disappeared, after which he notices a cat next to him and smiles, and also thinks that, as the priest said, this cat helped him. He also claims that he didn't think he would find a creature that could take away this pain, and he says the cat helped him a lot. At this time, the main character is a spirit and has a dream about it. How the fish claims to be a creature of the sea and has a simple request for the cat. After all, she wants to sacrifice her body to her, and if she can help finish her great adventure, then there will be nothing to regret. The main character then says what kind of fish it is, after which he immediately bites it and says that he will fulfill her wish and eat it right now. Well then, the young lady wonders why the fish is so hard and not very salty. The girl opens her eyes and sees a prince in front of her, after which she screams. The guy tells her not to panic and claims that she was sleeping and biting his hand, so he asks if she will pretend that this did not happen. After which he also says what a disappointment this is, and the main character, looking at his hand, thinks whether she really did this seriously. At this time, the guy says that he will not give her to anyone else, and now the cat will belong to him. The main character wonders if he is talking about her and why his relationship has changed so much. A little while later, the maid is already holding the dress in her hands and asks if it's not cute, since she bought it as soon as she had the budget. The main character just meows as if to say that it looks uncomfortable and why wear it. But the maid replies that the ruler's inauguration ceremony is coming soon, so they must show her nobility and beauty. The main character realizes that sometimes Arin responds as if he understands every word. The girl then suggests they start with this outfit. She also tells the cat to wait a minute because she is almost finished. A little while later, the main character is already dressed in a dress, and the maid says, "What a sweet and gentle cat, she is full of nobility." The main character wonders what kind of nobility she's talking about, and Irene insists that the cat has never dressed before. So she suggests that I sit in the room, and we need to take her to a beautiful place. A little while later, they find themselves in the garden, and the maid claims that this is where she usually hides when someone wants to scold her, and wanted to show her this place. After which she also tells the cat to wait there, because she will make a beautiful wreath. The main character thinks about what she is talking about, and then sees a bird in the bushes. But she understands that she needs to behave calmly and not act like a real cat. But at that very moment, the bird flies up to the tree, and as if with a grin, asks if she can catch it. The main character realizes that this little thing irritates her, after which she immediately climbs a tree and thinks that she will still show the adept to the bird. But then the bird flies away, and the main character suddenly loses her balance and starts to fall. The girl understands that this has already happened, after which she falls down, but then she realizes that she is still alive. Then the guy claims that it looks like luck is on his side today, because such a cute cat fell right into his hands. The main character is then surprised and realizes that she was saved by a handsome and noble man. At this time, the blonde claims that he sees her for the first time and that she has such unusual eyes. The young lady realizes that there seems to be another handsome man in the palace, but unlike Suleimanov, he has a frightening atmosphere. This guy makes her feel like he's a prince on a white horse, and she can't help it because he's so attractive. At this time, the guy looks at the cat's bell and says that it looks like she lives in the Sultan's harem. He also wonders if the cat has run away and why no one is with her. But it's dangerous for cats to be outside alone. The young lady thinks that veterans have truly been through so much, after which the blonde asks if she understands him and asserts that perhaps it would be better not to take away her freedom to run around the palace. After all, he's not the only one who's noisy there. The main character then wonders what to do with this information, but she needs to come up with something, after which the cat sees flowers and takes one of them in her mouth. After which she meows so that he pays attention to her and doesn't get sad, and also looks at how beautiful she is. But the guy immediately removes the flower and claims that she can't eat it because she might get poisoned. The main character understands that she didn't intend to give it up and is simply trying to cheer him up. But the guy asks again if she wants a flower, but it's better for her not to eat them. The main character thinks what a disappointment this is because he doesn't understand anything, and the guy hands her an artificial flower, which is made for decoration, and says that he will give it to me. After all, it's best not to touch live flowers. He pins this flower to the cat's dress, and he says that it looks good, and the main character thinks that this is the first flower she has ever received as a gift, and from such a handsome man. But at that very moment, someone cries out to the cat and claims that she couldn't find it. It turns out to be a maid, and she claims that the cat would be better off returning. But at that moment, she notices Prince Theon and is surprised. She bows and claims that she could never have imagined that the cat would be with the prince. And the guy replies that everything is fine, because he thought that the cat had run away from somewhere and was lucky to have such a beautiful companions. After which the boy pets the cat and says they'll see each other again. The maid then says goodbye to the prince and tells the cat he's handsome. There, he meows in response, as if saying that he completely understands her. And Irene claims that she fell in love with this image like everyone else. She also wanted to be sent to Theron's palace, and not Suleiman's. And although he is also good, he is scary. The main character understands that she understands her first impression of Suleimaniye, although he is quite handsome too. Well, then the young lady shakes her head and wonders what she's thinking about. The maid turns to the cat and asks if she really got this flower from Theron. She only meows as if to say yes, and the maid insists it's very cute. Then Irene is about to say what it means in the language of flowers, but finally stops. And he says it's okay, and also that the cat shouldn't bother her. The main character understands that Theron should have known about this, but didn't tell. A little while later, the girl is already sitting on the sofa and realizes that she is tired. But suddenly, she feels someone's gaze on her and wonders what happened, after which she turns around and sees Suleiman. She also thinks why he is looking at her like that. But the girl thinks that it's okay, and she'll just ignore him, but then the guy comes closer to her, and he puts his hand on it, which frightens the girl, and seems to ask what he wants from her. The guy insists that they seem to be feeding her well, since the cat used to be so skinny. The main character wonders what he's saying, and whether she's really eating too much. After which, the brown-haired man picks up the cat in his arms and claims that the priest told him to stay as close to her as possible, and then the curse will become weaker. The young lady wonders if this is really what he's talking about. After which, Suleiman claims that he is not finished with work, so let the cat sit there for a while, and the girl understands that this guy is irritating her. After which, the prince also approaches her and plucks the flower from the swindler. He says that this flower is for decoration and asks if it bothers the cat. The girl is only angry after this and wants this fool to return the flower to him, since it's a gift from a handsome man. But Suleiman insists that even though the flower looks ordinary, it's not. But he doesn't have the best meaning, and he also doesn't know who is expecting his cat. But it's unlikely this man did this with good intentions. The main character wonders why he's acting so strangely, and it's just a simple flower. The girl realizes they're only helping her because of a legend, and they treat her well only because she is the embodiment of the goddess, including Suleiman. The girl wonders if his behavior changed when she weakened the curse or because she became useful, but she also thinks about how long this will last, and that the prophecy that the story with the flower makes the girl feel like she is playing according to a scenario that others have come up with. A little while later, the girl dreams that Suleiman asks her if she is overeating because she has become plump. After this, the cat screams as if she is not fat. And this fur, and doesn't he see these muscles that are covered with thick fur? And yet he's so soft and silky, but then the girl feels something so soft and hard at the same time, after which he wakes up on Suleiman's chest and screams in bewilderment. The guy asks if she really chose breasts this time, and she's such a pervert. The main character is shocked by this. A little while later, the maid turns to the cat and shows her a chest of jewelry. She asks if she likes it, or if the cat wants to look at something else. The main character realizes that Aaron has been talking all morning, and her eyes are shining. A little while ago, the girl claimed that the inauguration was coming soon, and they had received gifts so they could take a look. The main character thinks that it's good that at least she's happy, after which the maid says that it's better to take away what they won't need. And he asks if the cat will wait there. The main character then meows as if saying she wants to help. She also realizes she thinks she can at least move the jewelry. Well, when she gets around to getting one out, then the blonde man comes up to her again and says that they have met again, and also says that the Sultan's cat should never be left alone, and she was dumped again because it seems no one has yet understood her charm. The guy also claims he was so worried she would cry when he wasn't around. Well, then someone asks if the guy can put her in her place, after which he realizes that it is his brother Suleiman. The blonde guy says that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and the main character wonders why he's angry again. At this time, the brown-haired man claims that he did say to put the cat in its place, and the main character realizes that they are both princes and brothers. After which, Theon says that her brother can see that he's just playing with her, but Suleiman tells the guy to take his hands off her, after which the blonde asks if he is obliged to follow his orders. Suleiman then claims that it is his cat, and the other prince asks if this is true. After all, he didn't know this, and he and the cat had already met and become friends, so he was so glad to see her. Well, it seems she wanted to run away because she didn't like the owner. Meanwhile, the main character is in shock, wondering what's wrong with them, and Suleiman claims that she is the cat from the prophecy, and the guy understands what this means. After all, everyone lusts after her. But then the brown-haired man leaves with the cat and says, okay, it doesn't matter. After all, they won't see each other again after the inauguration, so the guy shouldn't cause trouble. The blonde claims that he would like to stay in the capital for some time, and his mother is worried about his illness, so she asked him to understand her. After which, the Sultan tells him to allow him to ask a question, but slightly squeezes the hand that is stroking the cat. He also says that the cat recently got a purple flower, and wonders if it was his doing. To which the blonde replies, yes, and it's just a small gift. After which Suleiman gets angry, and she wonders if the guy thinks he doesn't know its meaning. Theon claims that speaking the language of flowers is pathetic love, but this is just a small embellishment. However, Suleiman claims that the boy himself told him this story when they were younger. There is a legend about this flower, that the couple was blessed by the goddess, but their love ended in misunderstanding, because the woman was loved by another man, and this story is about a man who falls into eternal sleep at the end. His interlocutor then claims that he didn't think his brother would worry about something like this, and asks how long he has been interested in such stories. But Suleiman claims that he does not understand why it was necessary to give jewelry that brings bad luck. He also says that he will monitor their activities as long as the two remain in the capital, and also let him finish the treatment and return to his territories, after which the guy agrees. After they leave, the cat looks at the blonde and he waves back at her, but she thinks he'll take everything that belongs to her brother, even the cat. A little while later, the young lady continues on with Suleiman. She realizes she's so afraid she can't say anything. At that moment, the maid runs up to Prince Suleiman, and he asks where she went to, which the girl replies that she needed to take things to the warehouse. The prince then says that this is his cat, so let the maid take care of her, because he no longer wants to see her hugged by someone else. Arine then apologizes and claims that this will not happen again, and when the gentleman leaves, she asks who he was talking about. That same night, the main character sits on Suleiman's bed and wonders if he's really that upset that he's late today. Well, she also wonders what if the curse is hurting him again. But then the girl shakes her head and wonders why she's even worried about him. After all, Suleiman suddenly came and started acting like a child whose toy was taken away, and she doesn't worry about it. She's just waiting for his apology. The girl also wonders if they will really quarrel over such trifles. Well, then she thinks that it is unlikely that this is a prince, and he will not be jealous of something like this. Suleiman returns to his room when the girl is already asleep, after which he strokes her head. And he says that the cat sleeps peacefully and doesn't even suspect how those around her feel. But he felt so bad when he saw her with that guy, but she doesn't understand it. The next day, the main character is already wearing jewelry and the maid is clutching her head. And she screams that the inauguration ceremony is tomorrow, and she still hasn't chosen a cat outfit. Another guy claims he thinks they all look the same, but Erin snatches the outfit from his hands, and she asks what her brother understands and let him help silently. The boy then approaches the cat, and he asks if this is really the filthy creature he brought. Well, his sister immediately hits him on the head, and he asks what kind of dirty one, and also that he shouldn't say bad things about this beauty. The main character realizes she can't believe they are brother and sister. At this time, the girl tells her brother to keep his mouth shut in front of her, because this is the prince's precious cat. The main character suddenly remembers Suleiman telling the maid to take care of her, but then she wonders why she remembered that. The young lady thinks that Suleiman began to avoid her and does not understand what she did wrong. At this time, someone else comes into the room and says that these two are so energetic, after which they see that it is Prince Suleiman, and the man says that it is already late, so let them go to their place. The guy also tells the cat that he hasn't seen her awake in a long time, and the young lady thinks he shouldn't say she sleeps around the clock. And of course, she sleeps more than usual, but she's a cat after all. The guy says she's wagging her tail, and he wonders if it's because she's in a bad mood. The main character thinks it seems he's learned to read her signs a little, after which Suleiman sits down next to her and claims that he too has had a lot of problems in recent days. Someone doesn't leave his head even while he's working, and the main character wonders if he's talking about love affairs, after which the guy claims that another man hugged her, and he can't bear the thought of it. The main character wonders if he's seriously talking about which floor to the woman, and Suleiman claims that he is surprised, because he has never felt this way before. The young lady then places her paw on his hand and meows, as if to say that love is always like this. The brunette asks if she is trying to console him, after which the main character thinks that she usually doesn't do that. And she jumps on his lap, thinking that it's only this time. The guy is thinking that this could drive him crazy. After all, his little cat is so sweet, he treated her so badly, but she still helps and comforts him. But he wouldn't do that in her place. Afterwards, the girl strokes his hand, but wonders why he stopped, since she enjoys being stroked so much. Well then, the girl notices Suleiman's cold gaze on her, and he claims that it is pleasant, after which he asks if she did the same with him. The young lady then thinks what is wrong with him, and she doesn't even know what to do. A little while later, someone tells the girl to wake up, and when the lady opens her eyes, then she gets up and asks what time it is. But looking at her hands, she realizes that she is in a human body. At this time, someone else turns to the young lady and says that they have finally met. And yet she waited so long for her child. The woman claims that she is the goddess who brought her into this world and waited so long to meet her. The main character asks if this is really Ashtar, to which she replies that yes, the girl has probably heard of her. The young lady then claims that she never thought that the goddess actually existed, and she has so many questions, but the girl asks to be allowed to ask why she called her into this world. The woman claims that she needed a person who would convey her will, and they are perfect beings. That they cannot simply appear before people, so they have to look for someone who will be their representative. The young lady, under 1-year-old, says that it is clear and she needed her help, but the girl also wonders why she is a cat. The goddess then apologizes and claims that she had to do this because the girl's power is unstable and the blame is entirely hers. The young lady then wonders why she's now in human form. But the goddess replies that this is a world created by her power, and it's possible to exist there in her original form. The girl will also be able to adopt and use her power, after which the main character thinks about what she is talking about. And the woman asks if she sees the fountain, because if so, then let her try to get water out of it. The young lady asks what this means, after which the woman replies that she is the goddess of water and of the stars. Naturally, her incarnation can harness this power. Then the lady will sense the energy of the water and become one with it. Her full potential. The protagonist thinks it's easy to talk about, but she still doesn't understand. What should she do anyway? Ashtar tells the girl to close her eyes and stretch out her arms, after which she realizes she has nothing to lose anyway, and does so. The woman tells the girl to feel the energy flowing through her body, and also ask the water to respond to her call. And let him not doubt for anything but believe in this power, after which the main character does it. The young lady notices that her hands begin to glow, after which she looks at the water, which is now moving. The young lady is surprised and wonders if this is the power of the goddess Ashtar. And the woman claims that if a girl learns to fully control it, she will be able to do amazing things more drastically. These skills will definitely come in handy, and the main character understands that if she possesses these abilities, she will be able to protect herself, and also to escape from any danger. The goddess claims that at first glance, water seems weaker than fire, but her power is great, because people around her will not feel pain and will never get sick. The girl then looks at the tree that the goddess touched and realizes that it has come to life. The woman claims that her power is healing and restoration, after which the main character wonders if it is possible to influence the curse. But the goddess claims that if another god intervenes, it could lead to undesirable consequences. The girl claims that then perhaps the world will be better off without her. But the goddess suggests that she not despair, because this is not true. The woman also understands that time is running out and claims that she was glad to meet the lady, but she will have to let her go. The main character is surprised by this, and the woman claims that soon the person next to her will be in danger, the one who shares her destiny, and they need each other. The young lady remembers the Sultan, and in shock, she wonders if he really is her destiny. But the goddess places her hand on the girl's head, and she claims that not the most pleasant things will await her in the future, but if she can overcome everything, she will get the life she so wanted. Give up under any circumstances, and the main character is wondering if this is a prophecy. The woman replies that yes, we are talking about a promise that she made even before becoming a goddess, because the flow of fate cannot be changed so easily. The main character then says that she does not believe in prophecy or fate, after which the woman says that this will do. He also wishes her luck and states that he cannot fully reveal his power to the world, but will give her a small gift. After which the young lady is surprised and cries out that there are still a lot of questions. But the main character only says that they will see the child again with a pure soul, after which the girl wakes up. The girl wonders what kind of dream it was, then looks at herself and screams that she has returned to human form and can speak. Well, when she turns around, she wonders if this really means that she slept with a man in the same bed. The girl also thinks about how long it all took and how long the dream lasted. After which the lady looks at her hand and thinks what kind of power the goddess gave her. The main character remembers how she did it, and then tries to do the same in the real world, but she doesn't succeed. At that moment, the girl begins to feel some strange energy, and she wonders what this is since she's a little different from the norm. The young lady also recalls how the goddess claimed that the person next to her would soon be in danger. The lady with blonde hair wonders if the goddess really spoke about this and what she should do now. At that very moment, the girl hears some kind of rumble and realizes that she must remember, otherwise everything will be bad. At that moment, several robbers burst into the room and ask if anyone is awake, after which they actually see a woman. The main character screams at the consultant that they have problems, so he should wake up. But looking at the man, she thinks how untimely this is, and the goddess spoke of this danger. One of the assassins claims that this is strange, and he was not warned about this. But then another one shouts that they'll deal with this girl first. Then they throw a dagger at her. The main character dodges, and looking at the weapon that almost pierced her, understands that if she had not managed to react, everything would have been very bad. One of the assassins claims that he was lucky once, but there won't be a second one. Hey, the girl understands that she thinks the same way. After which the men head towards her, and one of them cries out that there is little time, so they need to put both of them into eternal sleep at once. The main character runs to the Sultan and tries to protect him, realizing that they cannot fall into eternal sleep like this. She also remembers the words of the goddess that water seems weaker than fire, but in fact it is a great power. Therefore, let the girl feel the energy that flows in her body and ask the water to respond to the call. Now the young lady asks for this power to work, and it does. The girl finds herself entangled in a shield of water. One of the assassins asks what the hell is going on, and she has some kind of strange power. After which the other one uses a scroll, and the young lady's shield begins to crumble. The girl in shock tells them to stop, and realizes that she lacks energy, after which she, hugging the Sultan, tries to protect him. And the assassin swings his sword, and claims that he will plunge them both into eternal sleep. Well, at that very moment, the prince parries this blow, and asks her where these rats came from. One of them claims that he will not respond, and strikes again, but the prince deftly parries it. The main character thinks how this is possible, and understands that she must concentrate in order to help and do at least something. At this time, the man says that the assassins have good skills, and sent them to inquire too. But then, one of them screams that if he was going to tell, he would not have come there at all, after which he strikes again. And when the prince tries to defend himself, he realizes that there is something else in front of his hands. It turns out to be a shield from a young lady, and she screams, "What is he doing?" Because he has to deal with these assassins as quickly as possible. The prince then snatches a sword from one of them and wounds him. When it's all over, the Sultan claims he needs to know the identity of the person who ordered the assassination, so he can live. But the intruder claims he's not afraid of being plunged into eternal sleep, after which he uses poison. The protagonist shocked wonders if they really had poison, and the prince insists it's terrible. After which, he also turns to the young lady and sees that she is almost crying. He then says that it's clear, and the girl seems to be in great shock. The young lady notices tears on her face, and the prince tells her to wipe them off and not to be upset. The young lady wonders why this had to happen now, after which the man asks why they had to interfere, since he thought they were in cahoots. The young lady thinks about where to begin her explanation, and then gets ready to say something. The prince, hearing this, asserts that she can still speak, after which he asks again who she is. And the young lady realizes that she is the cat who slept with him in the same bed. But then he thinks she can't possibly say that. The man claims he thought his mother sent it, so he was looking for information. But no one had seen such a girl in the palace, after which the young lady claimed that she had done nothing wrong. The prince replies that the investigation will show them this, but she saved his life, so he would not want to hand her over. He also approaches the girl and asks her to tell him who the employer is, because he will help, after which the girl once again makes a fictitious claim that she is a cat and no one hired her. At this moment, someone else knocks on the door and asks if everything is all right. The Sultan claims that these useless ones arrived earlier this time. He then grabs the girl by the hand and shoves her into the closet. He claims they'll put her into eternal sleep if they see her, so she should stay inside. The main character is then about to answer no, but the prince only whispers for her to be quiet. And he'll wait there too, because he'll be back soon. A little while later, the emperor is in his office and tells the boy to come in. Brother Aaron claims that he came with information, because firstly, the assassins had an escape route planned. One of the servants betrayed them and sprayed sleeping gas, but all those involved were found already dead. The emperor asks if that's really true, to which the boy replies that evidence will be hard to find, and there are almost no traces left. Everything was cleaned up, and the only clue is the poison in the assassins' mouths. Strangely enough, it looks like an ordinary stone. The Sultan then realizes that it's not just a stone, but an artifact. And not everyone can get such a thing in the palace, so it is obvious that Theron and Roxolana arranged everything. The man then states that he leaves further investigation to him, and the guy replies that he understands. The prince also understands that an attempt was made on his life the day before the inauguration, and they have the nerve to attack him right in the palace. Okay, I just wanted to watch, but this is going too far. 2 years ago, a boy approached the queen and asked for permission to execute these two. It would be better to take control and nip the evil in the bud. But the woman replied that she did not allow it, after which the young man asked whether it was possible to let go of those who looked down on the Sultan. Well, the woman replied that her son had always been like that, and she respected his lifestyle. In this they are similar, but the guy claims that he did not come to listen to her jokes, after which the lady says that her son should think about the other princes, because initially there were 6 of them, and now only he and Theron remain. So does he really think that others could have truly fallen into eternal sleep due to illness or accidents, and now is not the time to create more enemies for himself? But the guy claims that if they are left alone, everything could happen again. The woman then says that they have the support of the nobility and the love of the people, so it's not so easy to get rid of such people. And the prince insists that they can't just sit and wait, after which the woman talks about a 5-year term and let him endure for exactly that long. After all, she'll give him this position for 5 years. Now the man realizes that 2 years have already passed, and all this time he's been like a dog on a leash, so he thinks it's best to wait for the right moment. The boy also rises from his seat and realizes that his brother probably has connections within the palace, after which he tells the guy to continue observation and report everything. The prince realizes that he cannot believe that the training he has undergone since childhood has been useless, but thanks to it, he has remained conscious. It was a dangerous situation, and he couldn't move, and he only saved you because someone kept calling him. The main character asked Suleiman to wake up, and then one of the assassins claimed that there was little time, so they both needed to be put into eternal sleep. But the young lady cried out that she didn't, and then used her power. One of them asked what it was, and Suleiman, opening his eyes, realized that it was this girl again, and also wondered why she was trying to protect him when she herself was in danger. And how could such a phylum end up in her weak body? So he couldn't believe it. He hid it intuitively when the guards came, or even last time his action was not normal behavior. But he doesn't know why he did it. The guy understands that he wanted to see her again when she disappeared, and wanted to know why she did it. When the guy enters the room, he realizes that he forgot to order it to be cleaned. He also realizes there are clothes in the closet, but the nights are cold now. He then approaches the closet and wonders if the girl has figured it out, or if she's shivering from the cold, after which he reaches out to the closet, but thinks about what he is afraid of and why he cannot find the words. The guy also thinks his friend the young lady ran away, after which he opens the closet. However, he sees only a cat there and wonders if this girl has disappeared again, after which the guy thinks what he expected. And where did she go? Only the cat remains. But she's so nasty. She's just sleeping while so much is happening around her. The next morning, the young lady wakes up and wonders if she is in the closet. But she was definitely there before she fell asleep. The girl understands that there was a mess in the room, of which there is now no trace left, so she wonders if she dreamed it all. Well, it felt too real to be a dream, after which the young lady looks at the clothes lying nearby and thinks, if this is really true. At this time, the Sultan turns to her and claims that it looks like the cat had a good night's sleep. The main character realizes that it is Suleiman's voice, after which she turns to him and wonders how long he has been there. At this time, the guy grabs the cat by the skin and asks where she is going. He also tells the cat to look him in the eyes, and she is very much at fault no matter how you look at it. The main character thinks it's dangerous and wonders if he's figured something out. Well, she claims to the men that such eyes are one of a kind, and that she always appears where this girl disappears. The main character thinks that Suleiman should not bring her so close because she could touch his lips. Meanwhile, the man says, "What does she mean?" The young lady thinks he should stop addressing the prince after that and insists it's time to get ready. The man gets out of bed and claims that he is coming, and the main character thinks that it was close. And she can't let herself be revealed yet, because if everything continues like this, she'll have a hard time. After the girl notices the prince's gaze on her, she understands that he frightened her, but it looked as if he understood her intention. At this time, the servant turns to the prince and says that the others are waiting, so let him go, to which he agrees. And the young lady understands that she almost got caught, and it is better to talk to Aziz as soon as possible. At this time, the maid wishes the cat good morning and asks how she feels. The main character thinks Arin must have been really exhausted yesterday, and it's even scary to look at her eyes. Meanwhile, the maid insists she went out to let the cat rest, but she doesn't have much time. And first, she offers to choose clothes. The young lady meows as if wondering why. The girl asks if the cat doesn't understand why she's doing this, and then claims that today is the coronation of Prince Suleiman. A little while later, the girl is already near Suleiman and realizes that the atmosphere is more serious than she imagined, but still solemn. And if she were in this guy's shoes, she'd be incredibly nervous. She realizes it's great to see Suleiman like this sometimes. And the man who is conducting the ceremony asks at this time to allow himself to be congratulated on becoming the new Sultan, and may the gods be with them and their lands. A short time later, the man sits on the throne. The guests say that today is such a good day, that they wish that the goddess Ashtar would always be with the Sultan. He thanks them and realizes that naturally the lady isn't there. He thinks about the girl who disappeared. After all, the prince looked for her everywhere, but failed. But at least one person in the palace had to see her. The only connection that exists is this cat, and at this time, people pay attention to it, and also ask if this is the same cat that everyone was talking about. And she's so stunning, the man realizes he knows it sounds stupid. But how could they possibly be connected? The girl was wearing a similar choker, and overall, there are some common traits. A mystical atmosphere and a frightened yet determined attitude, and the fact that she remains where that girl disappears. A little while later, the main character realizes that she is so tired, and it seems Suleiman has some bad thoughts about her. The maid asks if the cat is okay, and the girl wonders why he was so angry this morning and why he had been staring at her since last night. If it weren't for the maid, she definitely wouldn't have been able to cope with this, because the girl took the cat away and said that it didn't look very good, after which she also claimed that she would bring something tasty, and the main character agreed. She realizes that she can now enjoy the outside air, but then she notices some droplets of water above her. The girl thinks where this energy came from and jumps onto the balcony, after which the fountain sees everything. The main character realizes that she has a feeling that someone is her calls and wonders if this is really a goddess. Then the young lady approaches the fountain and realizes that the energy was coming from there. And yet she feels so good touching this water, as if all her worries are washed away. The young lady also reaches out further, thinking that she will touch it a little more. But then her foot slips and the cat falls into the fountain. She also realizes that she can't swim in this body and needs to get out. The cat also understands that she does not want to fall into eternal sleep and meows with all her might. Then someone pulls out the cat and says that great trouble would have happened to her if he had not made it in time. The man asks if the cat is okay, and the young lady realizes that she thought she would fall into eternal sleep, but she still wonders how that guy ended up there. Meanwhile, the blonde guy says it's dangerous to wander around alone in such a place at night. What if some psycho kidnaps her? The young lady realizes it's Theon, and the guy insists it's a good thing he ran away from the party. And he noticed her not too late. The young lady realizes that he looks overly cheerful for the person who ran away from the party, after which she meows as if asking if something bad happened. But the guy only asks if she likes this palace, after which the cat understands that there are good moments. For example, she met Arin, after which the girl also thinks about Suleimania and understands that he often excites her heart. But she's not sure she likes it, after which she meows, as if to say that she doesn't quite like it, and the prince claims that he understands her. After all, this is a cage in which freedom cannot be found. There is only struggle between the chosen and the unchosen. And this is hard to bear. The main character realizes he has that face again, and it seems he was talking to himself. At this moment, someone else runs up to them and claims to have found it. It turns out to be Suleiman. The man claims that he searched everywhere, and the cat is in such a place. After which, he also turns to Theon and claims that they are meeting more and more often. The blonde then asks if the celebration wasn't held in his honor, and if the culprit can't leave it. So the man wonders if the guy really took the cat he was looking for. The young lady thinks that's not the case at all, and that he saved her. The blonde then claims that he found the cat when she was drowning in a fountain, and was lucky to save her in time. The main character looking at the Sultan is a little surprised and wonders if he was worried because she disappeared. At this time, the blonde says that his brother had better be careful, otherwise he will easily lose his precious cat. Suleiman then says that it is none of his business, but the blonde insists that the cat is so poor that she hasn't even received a name. However, his interlocutor tells the guy to stop talking nonsense, and the blonde claims that maybe she ran away precisely because of this attitude, after which the Sultan takes the cat and tells Theon not to attract his attention with such things again. And he's smart, so he understands what he's talking about. The blonde then says he'll go since his brother is so uncomfortable. The main character wonders if they will return to the party, but realizes that the entrance is on the other side, after which the girl also wonders if he was really going to scold her for an attempt to escape that did not happen. The man claims he's been thinking about it all day. He and that girl were never in the same place at the same time. They also have unique eye colors and the Sultan's mark on their necks, so he's trying to say that if his guess is correct, he'll be able to see this girl when he kisses the cat. And it'll only take a second, so she shouldn't run away. The main character is surprised by this, but the Sultan immediately brings her to his lips. The girl then thinks why she is shaking so much, and she is not even human now, after which she transforms into her human form. Sultan claims that as he thought it is she, the young lady then says yes, and the Sultan wants to address her. Well, he doesn't know how, and is interested. Address her. The young lady realizes he seems hurt by Theron's words. The girl claims she has no name that could be used there, and silently adds that she only has what the director of the orphanage gave her in her past life. And then the Sultan asks, "What about Ishtar? Would this name suit her? It means child of the goddess Ashtar. And if the girl really is her embodiment, then this name will be appropriate." The main character wonders if she is a child. Ashtar then says that this is not bad. Well, she still tells the prince that she almost forgot, and suggests that he go inside since she is wearing almost no clothes. The guy is embarrassed by this, and the main character wonders if it will be difficult to go somewhere dressed like this. At this point, someone else approaches them and asks to help with this. This guy also says it's good that he found them, and the main character understands that it is Aziz, and claims that he was right, after which he apologizes for the fact that she did not believe him right away. At this time, he is silent for a while, and the young lady thinks that this is happening to him, after which he even gets down on his knees. And he claims that he, who is a follower of the goddess Ashtar, welcomes them. She also claims that the energy has become clearer, and that she is definitely the embodiment of the goddess of water. The main character then asks what he is doing, and suggests that the guy go up. The Sultan also says that this is enough, because they have already attracted attention with the bright light, so it will be difficult to talk there, after which the priest suggests changing her appearance before the people arrive. He places his hand on the young lady's head, and she understands that she had not noticed this oddity before. But why Aziz? She smiles so sadly. When the young lady looks at herself, she realizes that she is already dressed. A little while later, the girl realizes that Suleiman has done so many shameful things. But is he really going to pretend that nothing happened? Well, then someone knocks on the door of the room, and the young lady claims that this person can enter, and the Sultan enters the room. He claims that she will need a lot of new things, and he will also explain everything to Evelyn's sister. After all, she will help. The main character wonders if he really means Aaron, after which the man thinks for a moment. He approaches the young lady, asking how her body is doing, and if she feels anything strange. After all, if she experiences any side effects from the transformation, she should speak up. The main character wonders why he is so kind today, but she realizes that recently she was in so much pain that she even fell out of bed. But after receiving the power of the goddess, everything was fine, so the girl claims that she thinks everything is in order, and the man says that it's good. And the priest will also help because he wants to help adapt to life in the palace. The main character then whispers that she was so tired of studying when she was preparing for the entrance exams. The Sultan asks what she is talking about, after which the young lady says that nothing, and she will try, so let him take care of her. The man insists they don't have time now, so they'll discuss the rest another time. The main character realizes he left in the middle of the ceremony, after which he says that they will see each other later, which makes the brown-haired man a little embarrassed, after which he says he'll see her. And when he leaves, the young lady wonders what that look was. A little while later, someone addresses the cat, but then changes their tune and addresses her as Lady, and he tells her to wake up, after which the main character realizes that she decided to take a nap, but she didn't think anyone would come. The maid was wondering if she really was that cat, after which the main character ruffles her hair so that it looks normal, and she replies that it was the maid who was taking care of her. The young lady also turns to the Arons. He asks if she'll help her like she did before, but the girl is surprised and wonders if she's allowed to touch the incarnation of the goddess. The main character tells the girl to call her Ishtar, and the maid claims that it is such a beautiful name, and she also hopes that they will get along, after which the main character says that yes, and let Aron take care of her. The girl also wondered if she could take a walk, because the flower garden looked very beautiful, but the maid then says that she thinks the mistress is attracting too much attention, and she won't say anything about the Western Empire, but they are rare in appearance. After which the maid takes something out of the chest of drawers and claims that it should help because it will hide the color of the hair and eyes. She puts a veil on the main character's face, but she wonders if it won't make her even more noticeable. Aron claims that they are constantly worn by noble ladies or priests, so everything will be fine. A little while later, the young lady also addresses Aziza, who greets the incarnation of Ashtar, while the young lady suggests that he stop using that weird greeting and call her Ishtar, after which the man claims that it's a great name for a cat, and the main character says that she needs to ask something, after which the guy tells her to ask. Of course, and the young lady wonders how long she should stay there, because living in the same room with Suleiman is a bit strange. The priest replies that without her help, the Sultan cannot lift the curse because it weakens over time. And if they protect him from the attacks, then the curse will completely disappear, and then Ishtar will be free. The young lady then thinks that it is clear, and when the time comes, she will have to leave the palace, so she needs to be ready to protect herself. The girl also understands that she does not want to fall into an eternal sleep of misery, and for this, she will become stronger, after which she wonders how long this will take. To which the guy replies that if Ishtar is next to Suleiman, then he thinks that 2 years will be enough. The girl asks if it will really take that long, and wonders if she will have to share a bed with him, but the priest tells the lady not to worry. After all, at night, she'll be a cat again, and they'll put her in a small room adjoining the bedroom. But the girl thinks it's still not that simple. After all, she can't do anything about his evil intentions and claims that it will be problematic. But the priest is interested in what she is saying, after which the young lady says it's nothing and asks what she should do next. The man claims he'll come after Suleiman leaves for his official residence. Ishtar will receive a broad course in the culture, history, etiquette, and theology of the kingdom. Evelyn will teach her a couple of self-defense tricks. The young lady wonders if he's talking about self-defense, and that sounds useful, since in this life she's supposed to be healthy and wealthy and survive to a ripe old age. The priest says that she is in a good mood and asks whether it is worth starting today's lesson. After a while, the girl thinks that this is so complicated, and this guy is so different from his usual self. He also has Spartan methods, so the girl wonders if he is deliberately trying to intimidate her. Well, when the lady moves on, someone says it looks like she's there. One of the maids asks what kind of tricks this woman used. To melt the prince's heart, the other one says that she heard that he has been staying in the bedroom for a long time since she arrived. And they also gave her the next room. So just think about it. Does this girl really want to squeeze into a harem? Aaron then says that Lady Ishtar was not paying attention, but the young lady thinks that usually she would have done so, but not this time. After all, such words cannot be ignored. After which the girl says what an interesting story this is, and one of the maids asks what the lady wants. The main character claims that they spoke on purpose so that she could hear, and she wants to thank them. Well then, one of the maids asks what they are talking about, since they were just cleaning, but the young lady says how brave they are. And they're also right, because now she's the closest person to the prince, and their words are very sad as they diminish his good taste. One of the women then asks if the girl really deceived him with such words, and that doesn't change the fact that she's a vile witch. The main character asks if they really called her a vile witch, and if so, then they are wrong. After which the girl takes off her voile and tells these girls to open their eyes wider, and he wonders if they can repeat it, looking at her face. A little while later, Aziz asks if the lady had to show her face. The girl replies that there was a minor argument, and he's not going to blame her for it. She also thinks that if she hadn't intervened, It could have reflected badly on Aaron. At this time, the priest says that no, and everything is fine, because now the number of people whispering behind her back will greatly decrease, and he thinks that no one will argue with Beauty Ishtar. The girl then says okay whatever he says, but she claims that she would like not to wear a veil. Well, what should she do with this thing on her neck? Because of strange rumors may start around her. The girl understands that the Sultan's cat mark cannot be cut with scissors or a knife, and when it transforms, it also changes shape, so she has no way to remove it. But the priest can use magic. The man claims that this is an important item that is best kept to oneself, and asks if it is much of a hindrance. The girl replies that no, and it just rings when she walks, after which the man says that, okay, and now she is a person, so the mark is not needed. And he will remove the bell, after which he will use magic and the bell will disappear. The man says that everything is ready and let the ladies try to wear the choker, even if it is uncomfortable, because it is very important to Ishtar, to which the young lady agrees. At this time, the maid turns to her and says that they have been working for so long that she asks if it would be easier to take a break. The girl also claims that today she made a special tea. Hey young lady claims that it is great, and then asks what it is called. Aaron replies that this one is floral and chamomile. It was brought along the new sea route, and it smells wonderful. The main character wonders if chamomile tea really exists there, and it reminds her a little of the past. The girl drank it when she was studying for entrance exams and suffered from insomnia. Now the maid asks the lady if she likes it, to which she smiles and claims that it is very tasty, after which she thanks the maid. The main character realizes she has nothing to thank Aaron for, yet she always treats her so warmly. The girl says at this point that it's good that the mistress liked it, and that she'll cook more next time. The maid thinks that she's so glad they have a Lady Ishtar's. A short time later, the girl learns that the country's history was written in love. The kingdom of Ashtal contains countless love stories spanning thousands of years. A wide variety of people, regardless of status or nationality, could enter the sultanate. Both men and women can become sultan, so the sultanate varies accordingly. And now the girl wonders if women too can have a harem of men, or fill it with cats like Hurrem did. This is done for the well-being and prosperity of the kingdom. But at the same moment, the girl feels her head begin to hurt, and realizes that her throat is buzzing. The blood vessels throughout her body seem to have constricted, and she realized that these were symptoms of her transformation into a cat. The girl didn't feel this way when Suleiman was around, but now she manifests into a cat and thinks that it's bad. After which she trips over his dress and starts falling to the floor and screams. But the Sultan saves the girl by grabbing her and asking if she's okay. The main character only meows afterward, and the man says it's good. He wasn't late. And it's better if she reads books in the evening in bed, because they cannot predict when the transformation will begin. After this, the main character just meows, as if they are saying that she was so scared, and the Sultan says that his cat is such a crybaby. She puts her on the bed and asks if the lessons with Aziz are helping, to which the girl agrees. The man asks how life is in the palace, and if anything is bothering her. The girl understands that Suleiman helped her become human, and this gave her a little freedom. Of course you have to wear a veil, and the available space is limited, but it is psychologically difficult to sit in a room all the time. Irene takes care of her, so there are far fewer problems than there could have been. The maid always asks the lady if she needs anything else, and if so, she'll bring it. Well, the young lady realizes she feels like a bird locked in a cage. At this point, the Sultan asks if she really needs to transform into a human to say something. At this time, the main character thinks that he is sleeping half naked, and does he really want her not to close her eyes all night? At this time, the Sultan asks her to speak up, if there are any problems, or to try writing, and also at least to inform the maid if she does not want to tell him. After which the man also apologizes that he locks her out because of his circumstances. The girl understands that at first the guy seemed like a bad and spoiled prince to her, but maybe she was wrong. After all, he could have taken advantage of her weakness, but he didn't, and they need each other, so they'll get used to it. She can also apologize if he wants. Well, the girl then realizes that she is starting to get nervous, after which she breaks away from the Sultan's grip and goes to the fabric. The guy asks what she's doing, and the girl writes letters with her paws. And at the end, the word thank you comes out. The young lady, looking at the Sultan's face, thinks he's understood. after which the man takes her in his arms and says that he will go crazy with her cuteness. The young lady wonders what he is doing because she is now even more nervous, but the man only thanks her. The young lady is a little surprised by this, and the Sultan leans her against him and declares his deep gratitude. A short time later, the girl is already in the greenhouse, which the Sultan had built especially for the royal family. The maid claims it's a beautiful place full of greenery year-round. The main character thinks it's not just a garden, but a greenhouse, and it's so luxurious. Aaron, however, insists the greenhouse is so large that you can stroll for quite a while. But the young lady thinks that she has come to have tea with the most influential person in the country. Well, she also thinks that since she lives with her son, she needs to listen to what she says, and she won't do something like take the money, because she won't give up her son. The girl also says that if you think about it, it's not such a bad offer. The maid asks what the lady is talking about, after which she says that it's nothing and thinks that it's interesting how dramatic it will be. The girl understands that she can turn the situation around and demand money herself. But it's better to take the envelope with cash while it's on offer. The maid smiles at this point and says that it's great that the lady is full of confidence. This is a slight departure from her usual mood, after which the young lady asks if it's true. She also realizes that she has often fallen into depression when she finds herself in an unfamiliar world. And maybe it's all thanks to the power of the goddess and the return to human form. But now she is very excited about what awaits her in the future, and she also wants to protect her dear people. The girl understands that with this power, she is capable of anything, after which she turns to Aaron and asserts that she does not intend to become someone's puppet, and she'll only wear the pretty things she chooses herself. Her attitude toward the maid could cause problems. Therefore, if someone bothers her because of her, then let her immediately say that now she is not capable of much, but she will definitely repay her. Aaron is surprised by this, after which everything turns around, and also says that the Lady Ishtar is definitely an amazing person. Others would beat her or scold her for her mistakes, but the mistress treats her so well. The main character asks what she's talking about. She also thinks that it looks like this young girl had a very hard time in the palace, but she still saved her without any reason. So the girl claims that Aaron is like a family member to her. The maid then thanks the lady, who thanks her in return. A short time later, the protagonist approaches the Sultana, and she says that may God's blessing and glory always be with her, after which she is introduced. The woman then asks if Aziz told the lady about the manners of their kingdom, after which she only apologizes. And the woman claims that she doesn't care about such formalities, so let the girl sit down. The young lady is surprised by this, and the Sultana asks what she is looking at, and the girl is cute in the form of a cat and in the form of a person. The protagonist then apologizes, claiming she was captivated by the Sultana's beauty. The woman thanks her for the compliment, but she claims that the girl's appearance is also impressive, and she thinks that her son already likes Ishtar. The main character is surprised by this and thinks what to do now, because she did not think about such a development of events and why the conversation went in this direction. At this time, the woman offers to drink a cup of tea, and Ishtar does not understand that now she is nervous again. After which, the maid pours tea, and the Sultana asks Ishtar if there were any inconveniences during her life in the palace. The girl replies that no, because they take good care of her, so everything is fine. However, the lady with red hair claims that she thinks the place has become a little more comfortable since the girl's arrival. Ishtar thinks that she no longer understands why this woman called her from there, after which he asks if the Sultana wanted to tell her anything. The woman insists that the girl is a smart child, but today she just wanted to spend time with Ishtar and only heard news about her human form, but did not see it in person. The main character realizes that this woman doesn't seem to be upset or angry about anything, after which she claims that Suleiman previously forbade any strange women to approach his palace. But with her appearance, he stopped paying attention to this and generally began to behave differently. Ishtar claims that many immediately thought that she was part of his harem, and perhaps it would have been better to hide it. But the lady with red hair wonders if she really thinks it would be better that way, after which Ishtar cannot stand it any longer and asks what the Sultana's true intentions are. The woman then says that the girl does not like to waste time, after which she asserts that maybe she will guess why Suleiman's mother wanted to see her in person. Ishtar asks if the Sultana suspects her of anything, to which the woman replies that of course not. And conversely, he wants to ask her to take care of the guy, because if she bears this burden, the woman will put everything on the line and take care of her for the rest of her life. The main character asks if that's really true, to which the woman replies that yes, Suleiman will need several years to fully take his place as Sultan, and there will be many obstacles in the process. So if the girl can endure this, she'll be free to ask her for anything. Ishtar asks if she can promise her this, after which the woman says that of course, and they will even certify the documents, and asks what the girl wants most. The young lady understands that in Korea she would ask for real estate. But what would she take there? Aziz didn't teach her that. And frankly, she's not sure the girl wants a ton of money, land and a house, as well as a peaceful retirement with cats. She wants to say everything. But revealing your feelings in such a situation is not the best idea, so you need to think about the distant future. And the girl claims that what she wants most is freedom. The woman asks if that's true, and the young lady replies that yes. And when Suleiman becomes a full-fledged sultan, then let her be allowed to do whatever she wants. The woman says what a strange lady this is, and in her place she would try to maintain contact with the palace at any cost. Ishtar, however, insists that all people are different, and understands that Theron is probably not the only one who finds it difficult to be there. The woman claims that she thinks it would be strange to judge a girl by the standards of this world, after which she swears by the honor of the ninth Sultan Hurrem Azna that will fulfill her promise. She also asks if the girl wants to go for a short walk while they discuss all the details, after which the two move on and chat. But a little while later, someone else approaches them. The woman smiles and claims that she didn't think she would meet the Sultana there. Letty, with red hair, claims that they haven't seen each other for a long time and wonders if Roxolana has decided to go for a walk too. The blonde replies that it was a long time ago, and her mood was a bit soured, so she went out for a walk, and it seems that it was the right decision. Once she saw the beautiful cassock, the young lady realized it was Roxolana, and Aziz talked about her and also asked her to be especially careful, but the girl understands that she does not seem dangerous. The blonde at this time claims that beauty loses its value if there is no one to look at it, and Hurrem claims that such greed is enviable, and she also hopes that one day everyone will understand the art that Roxolana is trying to excel at. The woman then wondered if the Sultana was talking about her works, and whether they could hardly be exhibited or shown anywhere, but she did not know that Lady Hurrem herself was interested in them. But she still claims that she thinks instead of discussing such trivial things, it would be better to talk about the girl standing next to her. Hurrem replies that she is her son's favorite, and she decided to talk to her a little, after which another woman asks if this is the girl who is close to the second prince. The lady with red hair claims that the affairs of the main palace interest Roxolana more than she thought, but the blonde replies that she is mistaken because the rumors had spread so widely that she could not ignore them. The protagonist realizes she's like a shrimp stuck between two whales. Sultana says her interlocutor has had a lot to worry about lately, and she hopes that Prince Theron will soon get better and they can return home. Roxolana claims that no one is disputing the Sultan's rule, so why is she so worried? But she will thank her for her kindness and concern for the prince. After which, the woman states that she is not feeling very well and will therefore go. When she heads back, Hurrem claims that this woman is the biological mother of the fourth Prince Theron, and the girls better be wary of her. It's a rather unpleasant place for this woman, but she keeps coming there. The protagonist asks why it's unpleasant, after which the woman claims the Sultan gave her the greenhouse when she was younger, and proposed to her there. When she first met Mehmed, she thought he was a simple soldier, because he was in uniform and came to the market. Hurrem, born into a fallen noble family, fell in love with him without even realizing his true identity. They were so captivated by each other that they were blinded to everything else. The woman also claims that he called her his flower and promised he would never hurt hers, after which the young lady claims he's a very romantic man, and the red-haired lady replies that he was like that only for her. He sent love letters even from the stake, and it seemed he would never fall into eternal sleep, but in the end, he left this world and left her with a great burden. The woman also apologizes for bringing up these useless feelings in front of her, and the young lady replies that everything is fine because everyone has such experiences. The woman asks if this is really true, and then states that she is glad that the lady thinks so. Well, the main character asks why she should be more careful with Roxalana, to which the woman replies that she is Theron's mother, who is Suleiman's sworn enemy, so they will definitely try to take the girl under their control, and she must become stronger to avoid this. And she will grant her the position of the most noble person in the palace. After some preparations, they will officially declare the young lady the incarnation of the goddess, and then no one will be able to treat her badly. But the main character wonders if this is a good enough idea, to which the woman replies that she had originally planned to lure her with gold and silver, but she doesn't think it will work. The main character thinks that wealth is one of her most important goals. She is a woman. Then she says that the lady should not worry, because she will keep her promise, and if she wanted to harm her in any way, then two people would come for her soul. The main character wonders if this is really true, and understands that it seems like one of them is Suleiman, but she wonders if it is someone else. The woman then replies that it's her son Aziz, who is quite chaotic, and will be even more difficult because he's been waiting for the young lady for a very long time. The protagonist says he said something similar, and then asks why he waited for her. Well, the woman replies that she'd better ask him about it herself. A little while later, the maid asks what's wrong with Lady Ishtar. She heard that afternoon classes were cancelled. The main character claims that Aziz gave a lot of homework. Therefore, she will still have to study for a long time. Yeager asks personally, is it really so again? After all, today is a day off, so why doesn't he let the lady rest? The main character then cries out, is it really a day off today? After which the Sultan also enters the room, and he asks if Ishtar is even studying today. The young lady, meanwhile, wonders how anyone can be so beautiful. The guy claims that they haven't seen each other for a long time, but she doesn't have to react that way, and asks if she's afraid of him. Ishtar replies that this is not the issue, after which the man asks what it is then. The girl thinks that she is actually grateful because she can watch this for free. And Suleiman says that if she is afraid, then okay, because people often behave like that with him. At this time, the main character only says that he came early today and wonders if he forgot something. The guy asks if he can't come into his own room, and the young lady wonders if he's really sulking over something like that. But the prince does have a sweet side, after which she claims that she was simply surprised because he came at an unusual time and let him say what happened. The guy then asks if the girl is free today, to which she replies that Aziz gave her a lot of work, and she is busy. After all, he makes her read books even on weekends, and it's so boring. But he continues to say that she should study until she falls into eternal sleep. The Sultan asks if this is true and claims it's terrible. The young lady then suggests that perhaps he could intervene and shorten her schedule. Well, the man claims that he has a better idea, after which he suggests that they leave the palace together. A short time later, they are already in the capital of the Eastern Kingdom. The girl realizes that this is very different from the landscape she saw as a cat, after which the lady is completely surprised and doesn't even care if there's a sea there. Maria replies that, yes, it separates the continents. Ishtar asks how long it will take to get to the other side, to which the man replies that it will take about an hour by boat. On the other side, you can find the road to the west, and the atmosphere there is very different from theirs. Therefore, he tries to be careful when visiting other countries for exchange purposes. The main character thinks that this guy usually groans like where he is now, but he looks like a real prince. But the girl realizes that she is thinking about the wrong thing again. The main character also realizes that it was a good idea to go with Suleiman. After all, she feels a little freer now. The guy then claims that the girl seems to be in a good mood, and replies that yes, it was hard adjusting to life in the palace. And it's a little stuffy there. The Sultan then says that it seems he hasn't been paying her enough attention. But at this time, the young lady pays attention to his outfit, and the guy wonders if there is something wrong with him. The girl realizes that this is too stylish compared to other people, and claims that she thought they were going to the city of incognito. The Sultan replies that everything is exactly so, and the young lady thinks that the prince does not understand the outside world well, because he does not even realize how much attention he will attract to himself. So first you need to do something with his hair, after which the lady tells him to bow his head. He also understands that if he wants to get along with people easily, he must appear modest. Ishtar also tells him to close his eyes for a second, and the guy thinks why so suddenly. But then he agrees and does so. The guy thinks he needs to calm down because there's no need to panic there, but the atmosphere is so strange. After which, he also thinks whether the girl is too close, but he has such a feeling, as if their lips are about to touch. At that very moment, the main character places her hands on his head. Then he ruffles his hair and says, "It'll be better this way." The guy asks if that's all, to which the girl replies that yes, but then remembers something else and puts a hood on him. And he also claims that it's even better this way. The Sultan then wants to say something, but the young lady insists that it seems they've arrived. After which, the two get out of the carriage, and the main character realizes that she has already been in this place. The boy then asks if she's already been to the market, to which the young lady replies that she hid there when she was in cat form. Ishtar realizes that she was a stray just a couple of weeks ago, and now she went on a secret journey with the prince, and life is so unpredictable. The guy claims he's never been a cat, but it can be weird seeing the same place in different forms. The main character then wonders what the Sultan would be like in the form of a cat, but the man only tells her to forget about it. At this time, Ishtar suggests asking Aziz for help and experimenting. "Well, damn, we have to." She suggests stopping talking nonsense and moving on. A little while later, one of the saleswomen asks if they're looking for anything in particular, as they sell almost anything. It's high quality, and the prices are rock bottom, so they should come over and take a look. The young lady then approaches one of the stalls, and one of the sellers dressed like her immediately approaches. And he points to one amulet, and also says its name, and claims that this is an amulet against the evil eye, a very popular product lately, and it protects against failures and troubles. The young woman realizes they're also selling some kind of protective amulet, so she asks if it would make a good gift. The man replies that everyone likes them, so it's an excellent choice. And then the young lady tells him to give her this product, and also understands that this is her first purchase in this world. But the girl thinks how many coins she needs to pay, because she only studied etiquette and history. The Sultan then claims that the young lady has not yet figured out the local prices, so he will take care of everything. After which, the young lady says she wanted to do it herself and needs personal experience. But the man then says that the wallet, it's heavy, so he'll carry it. Well, the young lady thinks that this is really so and understands that the wallet weighs more. After which, she goes after the Sultan and says that she does not understand, so let him wait. A little while later, he is already talking to another merchant, and the young lady realizes that she thought something special would happen since they were going incognito. But for now, there is nothing interesting there, because they only ask what goods are currently in demand and what the scenes are. Well, she's still happy because it's her first time going shopping and maybe she should look around a bit. But at that very moment, some stranger pushes the young lady, and the main character thinks, why push her so hard? She also falls on something soft, and when she looks up, she realizes that it is the Sultan. The guy asks if Ishtar is okay, to which the young lady replies that she is, and he claims that there is a big crowd there, so she should try not to get lost. The main character wonders where so many people came from, and the Sultan claims that it will be dangerous if they get separated. Then let her go closer. Ishtar thinks that only her heart is in danger now, and it looks like they are hugging. The guy claims that today is the main trading day, which is why there are so many people, and he suggests leaving quickly. At this time, the main character wonders if the Sultan really doesn't care at all, after which he simply offers to move on. And the young lady agrees, but she understands that it seems like she is the only one who is nervous, and what should she do with this emotionless guy? But Suleiman still blushes as they move on. The next day, the maid says how beautiful the bracelet is, and its color resembles Lady Ishtar's eye. But then she sees that her mistress is unresponsive and wonders if something has happened. The main character notes that everything is fine and asks if Aran liked it. The maid then only asks if something happened yesterday, to which the main character replies that nothing happened and that she took a short stroll with the Sultan. Well, the maid claims that it was their first date, which is why the young lady choked on her tea, after which he says it's completely untrue, as it was simply a secret expedition. The maid insists that if the prince wanted to go to the city secretly, then why did he take her along? The young lady replies that they were simply exploring the market. But then she remembers the warm embrace that gently enveloped her, and it was such a feeling she can still feel it. The maid meanwhile claims that the mistress's face now resembles a red-hot piece of iron. The young lady replies that it's simply hot today, and her interlocutor says yes, of course, and also asks whether she should cancel her morning fencing practice. The main character asks if she is really going today, after which she claims that this cannot be missed, and invites Aaron to go. The girl also realizes that she doesn't think she will need the technique's self-defense when you have the power of a goddess, while she doesn't want information about her to spread. Therefore, it is better to protect yourself in case of an unforeseen situation, and while there is still an opportunity to learn for free. Ishtar asks, "Who will be the teacher?" And it won't be some stern man, to which the maid says that the lady shouldn't worry about it. After all, he's kind and will teach her everything she needs. The main character wonders if this is Ivlan, and he's the one she didn't want to see. After which the guy simply wishes Lady Ishtar good morning, and the main character, looking at his face, thinks that it's worth just taking a look. And also, can't he even move near the girl, after which he decides to joke around a little. He extends his hand and offers to shake hands in honor to their acquaintance. The guy only looks nervous afterward, and the main character grabs his hand. After which, he suggests to the teacher to start the lesson and not to waste time on trifles. An hour later, the guy says he will bring some water and that the girl should rest a bit. Ishtar understands that her appearance definitely stands out, if even this guy reacts like that. But then she still thinks about what she's doing anyway, because the only person she wants to joke about like that is Suleiman. Well, the lady thinks why he started to react so calmly, and it would be normal to be at least a little embarrassed. She doesn't like it, so she tried to do everything several times, but the girl thinks, why does it bother her at all? After all, initially she was going to avoid him, but now she is constantly paying attention. Then the young lady swings her training sword and thinks that she has too many chaotic thoughts. At this point, someone else turns to the lady and says that she is swinging the ball alone and that it is so unusual. The main character is surprised by this, and the sword falls out of her hands, after which she thinks that it is dangerous. But the guy just grabs him. The main character, looking at him, asks if it's Theon, but the prince asks if they know each other, after which the young lady apologizes to him, and also claims that she did not notice the prince and was unable to stop in time, to which he replies that nothing and there is no problem. He also claims that only people connected with the government come to this place, so he thought that the girl is an unusual person, and she can also call him as she likes. And he'll give her a little advice, because when it comes to points, people often lose concentration and lose sight of their ball, but even a wooden ball can seriously injure, so she should be more careful. The young lady thanks him, after which the prince claims he's glad he was able to help her. The young lady then begins to stare at him. The guy wonders if there's something on his face. Ishtar wonders if she really needs to tell him outright that he's handsome. And then she claims that it's not every day that you get the opportunity to meet Prince Theron in person. But the girl also asks if she can stay there, and whether it is really such an important place. The prince replies that his brother will definitely be angry if he finds out, so they can keep everything a secret. Ishtar realizes she doesn't think meeting him there is a good idea, so it's best not to come between the enemy brothers. The girl also claims she's already finished her classes, so she'll go. And the guy says that it's so strange because they're seeing each other for the first time. But for some reason, the young lady thinks that this atmosphere scares her, and whether this is the same person she met before, because he doesn't look like him at all. At that moment, the teacher approaches them and asks Prince Theron what he's doing there. The guy then turns to Ivlan and claims that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and also says that he was passing by. He also wanted to return the lady's wooden sword, which she had almost dropped. Meanwhile, Ishtar offers Ivlan finish for today. The teacher is surprised after this, and the blonde man claims that it seems the girl doesn't want to train anymore. Ivlan then says he has to go and apologizes for being rude. He also runs up to Lady Ishtar and tells her not to go there alone. The prince wonders if this is the same girl from the rumors. She's also his brother's favorite, so the guy insists she needs to be investigated. And let the shadow not miss anything, for the future will only get more fun. A short time later, the knight reports this situation to the Sultan, his pen in anger, and then tells him to repeat who the girl just met. A little while ago, the Sultan asked how far the investigation into the capital's black market had progressed, and whether they had identified those behind the incident last time. The knight replied that there were only suspicions, and no clear material evidence had yet been found. Everything is so vast that it's difficult to find a single ledger. The Sultan then realizes they need a definitive clue that could destroy Roxolana. To achieve this, the primary objective is to drive out those behind the illegal trade and tax embezzlement that flourishes in the capital. And the second task is to eliminate in advance the forces that will surely spread beyond the capital and become corrupt tyrants for the entire kingdom. After which, the man tells the knight to make sure that they found it, because evidence will surface if they track the volume and quantity of weapons sold on the black market, to which the guy replies that he will remember it. After which he also claims that if you think about it, Prince Theon visited a training camp today. The emperor then asks if he really paid a visit to the camp, and this irritates him. The guy himself also really irritates him, after which he asks why his brother was there. The prince claims he came just then when he was briefly absent, and the Sultan wonders if he was with Ishtar while the boy was away. The knight shudders at this. He also bows and states that he is sorry because he will be more careful to ensure that something like this does not happen again, and the emperor thinks why the guy did this. The prince might not be very pleased to approach her. He refused to set foot on the no-go training camp grounds and must have approached her to use her for political purposes. Well, the guy also thinks that if not, and he has been experiencing anxiety and impatience for some time now, when he sees the girl in front of him, the Sultan understands that even when he falls asleep at night, the girl sleeps in the form of a small kitten, and he's afraid that one day she'll disappear like a mirage. Then the man suddenly clenches his fist and wonders if he's really afraid. But emotions only do harm, and he thought that this would not help to set the kingdom right. It was fun to be in that awkward feeling of love, but now everything is different, and he knows this very well, so how stupid it was to indulge in such careless thoughts. The guy also thinks about what he should call this unpleasant feeling, which turns out to be impossible to grasp, after which he gets up from his seat and claims that the prince cannot do this. The knight is surprised and inquires about the master's words, and he replies that that's all for today, adding in his thoughts that he needs to see Ishtar. A short time later, he's already heading down the corridor, and he understands that, after thinking about this, it's time to take a tour of the cities located near the capital. To unite the nobles and inspire loyalty to the ruling family, this is one of the main tasks of the capital's governor, so it's no surprise that this time it's the capital. Afterwards, the guy enters the room, and the main character greets him and asks if he's really here early. The guy then calms down a bit, and he understands that he feels suffocated when he sees this girl, and he has never loved the existence of someone so much. At this time, the main character puts her hand on Suleiman's corner and asks if something has happened, and also if he is in pain. Fine with him, but he understands that he doesn't know what to do now, and that everything has been mixed up in his head since the last time they went to the market together. At first, he thought it was because of Ishtar, who felt disappointed by unknown actions, but he realized that it was a lot of fun to walk with someone in the bazaar, buying sandwiches on the street and looking at the cheap food. When they walked together, the guy was worried that she might fall and that someone might hurt her. And coincidentally, for the first time in his life, he discovered that his heart could beat so fast, he finally had to accept it. And it was the fact that this girl was there, not only to satisfy his needs, but also to fulfill his personal desires. Meanwhile, the main character cries out to the Sultan once again, wondering what's wrong as he's acting a little strange today. The young lady also asks why he sighs when he looks at her. And the guy tells Ishtar that starting tomorrow, he will leave for a while to visit cities near the capital, and he is very sorry that he is leaving her alone. The main character then asks if he really knew, and for how long, and the girl replies that most likely no more than a week, because he would even say that a maximum of 5 days. After which, the young lady asks if she can go with him, and the guy then thinks what this means, after which he looks at the young lady and thinks what this means. The girl just screams that this means she'll have to be a cat for a while, and she hates it so much. The young lady also thinks she could just pinch his cheeks, after which the guy claims that he will do everything possible to ensure that no inconvenience arises. So he asks the girl to be patient, and he told Evelyn to take a break from classes for a while, after which the young lady asks if this is true. And yet she claims that the Sultan should have told her a little earlier, so that she could prepare. Otherwise, he revealed it on the eve of the trip. And even for a prince, this is too much. The guy realizes he's about to hug the girl, but he wonders how he can allow this to happen, and he wants to let his body move according to whatever thoughts come to mind. In the meantime, he wonders if the girl might hate him, and worries that he might leave her. So this trip is a kind of opportunity, after which the guy claims that he will return very soon. The Sultan also thinks that this might be considered a way to look into the face of the feeling he has for her, and he hopes that nothing happens to the young lady. The blonde, meanwhile, is walking through his estate and looking at the purple flowers. He also says that they have grown beautifully, no matter how strange it may look, with their help. He will also be able to prepare a large amount of poison, because it cannot be just beauty. It's nice to see them bloom, only to have damn time wither and forget about them. But poisonous plants have many uses, both as a medicine that heals people and as a drug that instantly takes life. At this point, one of the shadows greets the prince, but at that moment, he slaps the slogan across the face and insists that he already told him not to be so careless, and also that the servant really does want to die. The girl merely claims that she's convinced there's no one around and apologizes for failing his mission. The man then asks what she's talking about and suggests getting down to business, after which the woman claims that she is there to report what the prince ordered her to investigate. And she regrets to say it, but she couldn't find anything about this woman. The mysterious blonde man is interested in all the circumstances, including her age, birth date, and social status. What about the story about the Sultan leaving the palace, to which the girl replies that she also could not understand it at all? The truth is that one day, unexpectedly, a girl appeared in Prince Suleiman's palace, which was apparently a move on his part, but no investigation was carried out before or after that. And besides, there is news that Suleiman's knights are moving separately, and it looks like they are exploring the market. The blonde then says that his brother is very smart, and he wants to hug this little brother, so as his younger brother, he must give the Sultan something to do. There are people who were recently fired from the palace, so the guy asks what the investigation revealed about them, to which the girl replies that nothing, after which the prince says that she should then plunge them all into eternal sleep, and also wonders what kind of rumors will spread if the people whom the Sultan expelled plunge into eternal sleep in a terrible way. Theon claims that he really wants to do this, after which he tells the shadow to go back and do its own thing, and agrees to something. At this time, the guy looks at some other flowers and remembers the cat, and also understands that now, when he thinks, he was wondering if everything was okay with this cat, because these flowers are not harmful to humans, and he was very surprised that the cat bit something that almost looked like poison. If he sees her later, he should tell her not to go to the flowers, and he should not continue to give it to her. But the guy still thinks why he continues to think about it. And this isn't just anyone's cat. It's his brother's cat. And what's more, if this cat is from the prophecy, he must destroy it. But he doesn't want to harm this kitten, and he wants to take the throne. The guy also thinks why these useless feelings only get stronger, because he is only taking care of the cat. He also thinks that as soon as he began to think about it, he noticed something else, because he had never shown interest in the opposite sex. But as soon as a certain woman named Ishtar appeared out of nowhere, she turned out to be the one with whom Suleiman was in love. If he loses her, what kind of facial expression will he make? After which the blonde claims that it is funny to imagine. A little while later, the protagonist realizes she definitely senses something is about to happen after this day. And isn't it just the lull everyone seems to be having? And if she thinks about it, Aziz must have told her something. A little while ago, a girl asked her teacher about the fourth prince, and he asked if she meant Prince Theon. She answered something yes, and asked what kind of person he was, because she wanted to know more about him. After which he claimed to the teacher that Roxolana came from the richest family on the continent, and that this guy was her only child. As the girl could see, he has a very attractive appearance and is extremely kind to women. To the girls in the palace, he is known as the prince on a white horse. In terms of appearance and personality, he's more popular than Suleiman, and what's more, he follows in the footsteps of Roxolana. He's responsible for sponsoring orphanages and participating in various aid events. The prince often said he was simply restoring wealth to the city. The young lady then wondered if he was a good man and whether she should be careful. Aziz then insisted that this meant that this was precisely the image the prince projected. Because if you look at his actions, he's a very dangerous man. As the girl knows, the two heirs currently remaining in the kingdom are the second prince, the son of the current sultan, and the fourth prince, Roxolana's son. This means that if Suleiman disappears, Theron will become the next sultan. For this reason, Hurrem Haseki Sultan will continue to be vigilant against Theron's forces because she does not know what might happen. Therefore, it would be better for the girl to also watch the prince. And now the main character is a little depressed and also understands that, because of such things, she feels uneasy being left alone. And if only Suleiman were there at such a time, after which the girl thinks about this guy and thinks that he is strange and has only been absent for a few days, but she already feels lonely. The girl also realizes that she hates seeing an empty bed in the morning, after which she lies back down and realizes that she has feelings similar to being in love. She admits that they definitely are. They exist. But if you dive into them for even a second, she feels her heart begin to tap dance, and the girl thinks, isn't this dangerous for her? The lady also wants this torment to stop. She doesn't think that the situation will change for the better. Well then, someone else reaches out their hands to the young lady, which frightens her, after which she completely understands that these are the maids who took care of her while Aaron was away. One of them claims that she can't, and that it's so cute, and the other one asks if the girl saw how she patted her on the cheek. One of them also asks if they can touch her for a minute before Aaron shows up, but the other then asks if the girl knows her personality as she's a bore and can start a fight for the slightest touch. The main character thinks they should stop messing around, after which one of the maids says that just a little bit, and if the cat doesn't like it, then they can just stop. And so when the main character jumps onto the girl's lap, and she says that the cat climbed onto her lap, then the other maid says that the goddess is such a friendly kitten and it's so cute. After which, one of them asks to touch the cat for a minute, and then meows, realizing that the situation has truly changed. In the past, there were people who thought she was just a cat that couldn't speak and treated her with indifference. But now she thinks about how gentle their touches are, and they are not bad either. But at the same moment, the girls hear someone else talking to them. It turns out to be Aaron, and she wonders what the girl is doing. Then, one of the maids tells Aaron not to misunderstand them, as the cat herself asked for affection, after which the maid also leaves. And she says that she'll go then because she needs to work. The other one also says that they have things to do, so they'll see each other next time. The main character meows at this point, as if asking if she's really staying. Then the maid turns to the young lady and cries out that she's apologizing because this shouldn't have happened, and she thinks her concern has its limits. And it's natural that they love cats. The girls just wanted to see her. That's why they weren't acting so strangely. The young lady thought the girl was cute, and Aaron was jealous that she was playing with other girls. Well, the maid claims that it doesn't work that way, even if she's in the form of a cat or a goddess. Ishtar can't she become her friend? The protagonist is surprised by this and realizes she never thought she'd hear something like this from Aaron. Well then, the lady also thinks that although Aaron is young, she is a servant, and no one in this palace can openly enjoy their time. And it was Aaron who approached her from the very beginning, and that's why she's her best friend. The maid then asks how the cat thinks and whether this will really make her feel better. But a little while later, she already claims that she will ask the librarian about the book that she mentioned earlier, and also asked if she could only look at the book that was written on paper, to which the girl agreed. After which, the maid tells her to wait a minute because she will bring her the book right away. The young lady realizes that it is quite quiet and calm there, and she came to borrow the book that Aziz recommended to her last time. The guy claimed that these were old books, so they would have to go to the storage facility and not the main library. And seeing that Aaron was late, the girl thought it was understandable, and he recommended a book that was pretty crazy. Well then, someone turned to the cat and asked if she was really in a place like that. The young lady turns around and realizes that it is the prince's voice, and also wonders why he appeared out of nowhere. At this time, the guy apologizes for ruining her mood, and that he probably surprised her too much, and the young lady thinks that this is happening again. And she shouldn't do this, but unconsciously, the girl begins to meow in bliss. The main character realizes that this guy's skills with cats are simply amazing. The guy asks if she's feeling much better, and the main character realizes he's really driving her crazy. The prince insists she couldn't possibly have come to this place alone, and asks if she has a companion. How could anyone leave a cat alone in such a place? The blonde also claims that she looks so helpless, and that it doesn't matter whether she's there or not. But it's dangerous, because what is she even thinking about? The young lady then thinks she came for the book and didn't realize it would take so long. Aaron's thoughts were probably filled with the feeling that she had a mission to save the book. And then the girl wondered what the prince was thinking. He looks very angry, so the young lady wonders if everything is okay with him. The guy insists that if it were him, he would have ordered his brother's cat. But that's not true at all. After all, she is most likely his brother's favorite cat, which means he somehow owns her, so he wants the girl to be on his side. Young Lydia is surprised by this and wonders what he is talking about, after which the guy only claims that he is of course joking. And he also believes that the bass has stunned her. The young lady then wonders if this is a joke, after which she also ponders whether it's not obvious, and wonders why he has such a surprised expression. The boy turns to the kitten and claims he doesn't know why, but these sensations calm him, and it's just that it's rare to be near her in this royal palace. The guy also claims that the cats are the same for him, so if they meet again in the next life, then he asks her to meet again, after which the guy brings the cat closer to his face. The main character wonders what he's doing, but he just kisses her. The young lady immediately pulls away and meows, as if asking what he is doing. But at the same moment, she begins to feel ill and realizes that she has a headache. The girl wonders why this is happening again, and also remembers Suleiman. A little while later, the young lady wakes up and wonders what it is and whether she was able to turn into a human after kissing Theon. The young lady also wonders if Suleiman is the only thing that can trigger the transformation, and how could this even happen? That time, she was looking for a book in the library and by an unfortunate chance stumbled upon Theon. After his kiss, her body was gripped by hellish pain. Suleiman's kiss was strange, but still strikingly different, because everything was as if in a fog, and yet she felt an unusual energy throughout her body. The main character also thinks that if someone finds out that she can turn from kissing other people, then political strife cannot be avoided. This could be a serious blow to Suleiman's reputation, especially considering that the magic code from the prophecy, according to legend, is intended to elect a person worthy of the throne. That transformation via kiss could rightly be seen as an endorsement of Theron's candidacy, so she should keep the incident a secret. The prince enters the room and asks if the window is awake yet, and also wonders if he should call her Ishtar. He also wonders if she would like to address him by his given name, as he'll only think the cat has just turned into a human. At this time, the main character claims that before she explains everything to him, she would like to clarify something, and firstly, she is waiting for an apology for his sudden kiss, because she did not want it. The guy then says that she is right, and whether she is a human or an animal is not important, because he should not have approached her with kisses without permission, and he asks her to forgive him for his rudeness. But the guy asks if she really needs someone's kiss to transform, to which the girl replies that she doesn't know anything about that, and unfortunately can't answer his curiosity. The prince smiles after this, and believes that this is the reason why his brothers keep the ladies so close to them. He'd long since suspected she needed her human form. Otherwise, why would she turn to the cat again? She wondered if he'd try to intimidate her with this, and what she should do. And the guy claims that, frankly speaking, he is glad that the lady appeared before him as a man, because it is a great honor for him. The main character then realizes that she had already thought that he would use this information against her, after which the girl wonders if she was wrong. And she needs to dig deeper to find out, because the only thing that can be said at the moment is that this guy doesn't look like a bad guy, so she thinks that she should still ask him not to reveal her secret. The girl also tells him to listen, because she has a very important request for him. Well, at that very moment, someone tells His Highness that Roxolana has come to him and is wondering whether to let her in. The main character thinks how bad the timing is, and the guy claims that he is changing clothes, so let them ask him to wait a little, after which he also tells the girl to go there quickly, because she needs to be hidden. A little while later, the woman comes into the room and says that she and her son haven't seen each other for a long time, and also asks if he thinks it's rather rude of him to so hopelessly forget about his bored mother. The guy apologizes and claims that a lot of time has indeed passed, but the woman is only interested in who he looks like and what's wrong with his clothes, and she knows perfectly well that he is not one of those who designs daytime sleep, so how could he have missed out on his woman's peace, and in broad daylight at that? Well, the guy then asks if his mother said that she doesn't care what he does, after which the woman tells him to leave the child and worry about him, and he needs a faithful companion. So how long is he going to fool around? And let the darling take the trouble to explain himself. After all, by the way, she keeps looking at him, and it seems to her that there's something about him that really wants to give his mother dinner. The protagonist, meanwhile, is in the closet and realizes she's hard of hearing and can't make out what they're saying. A short time later, she hears fragments of a message that the shipment will be delivered to the capital in the next 10 minutes. And the girl understands that if they had stood at least a little closer and spoken a little louder, she could have heard. There is a high probability that this information is secret, and yet the girl understands that she must find a way to get out of there. At this time, the blonde says how glad she is to hear such wonderful news from him, and yet she shouldn't make them wait too long, because he understands what she means. After which, the guy suggests that they stop their conversation at this point, and that mother should know that even walls have ears. Well, the woman then wonders who the guy is trying to deceive. And does he really think that his mother doesn't know that he even got rid of her comrades? The boy then says that from now on, he'll make sure to visit her more often, and his mother can't even imagine how much he misses her. The woman then says that he should keep in mind that she's only expecting good news, otherwise he might not show up. At this time, the main character hears someone approaching the lid of the cafe and thinks that she is probably going there, so what should she do? So the prince opens the closet and addresses Lady Cat. However, the girl clutches her head and begins to cry. The guy then asks if she is okay, and the young lady claims that she is afraid of dark, narrow spaces. The blonde claims that he didn't know that mother would come and apologize to the lady, and the main character thinks that it's good, and he doesn't know that she was eavesdropping on their conversation, but it's dangerous to stay there. After which, the young lady thanks him, but insists she needs to go. The prince says no, and that it's better for her to rest. However, the lady insists everything is fine and wants to ask him for a favor. After which, the main character asks him to keep secret the fact that she was with him and that she can transform. The guy asks why, and whether the lady is worried that Suleiman will be angry. But the main character replies that he is not that kind of person, after which the blonde says that he would not be so sure. The girl then claims that, frankly speaking, she does not want to create problems because she is from the prophecy. And if it turns out that there are two of those whose kiss helps her turn, whether he wants it or not, she'll find herself embroiled in a huge scandal. The guy then says that's for sure, and if that's the lady's wish, then so be it. A short time later, the maid, now tearfully grimacing, says she's already decided the lady is lost. The main character in cat form meows, as if begging Arin not to cry. At this time, the maid only says that she was so worried, and even thought that she had been kidnapped. But what would she have done if she had not returned? After Togo, the main character strokes the maid, who immediately hugs Ishtar. The young lady thinks she's terribly ashamed, but this is important, and all of this is for Orenser. Well, the girl also thinks whether she should tell the maid that she addressed you as a person. Well then, the young lady thinks that it is better not to do this, because if she tells her, this information will certainly reach Suleiman, because these two are far from the closest family relationship, so she does not want to inadvertently make things worse. The girl also thinks that whatever the case, she and Theon kissed, and what else can she say? A little while later, someone turns to Ishtar and tells her to wake up. It turns out to be the Sultan, and he claims that they haven't seen each other for a long time, and also asks how she is doing. The guy also picks up the fabric lying on the bed and wonders if it is his clothes. The main character immediately jumps up from this and does not know what to do, and also understands that if she had known that he would come today, she would have cleaned it. A little while ago, she was scratching the Sultan's closet, and the maid asked if the cat really wanted her to get clothes for her. But now the guy just picks up the cat and hugs her, and also says that he misses her. The main character realizes that she thought he would be angry, but he acts so nice that the girl thinks how cool he is, after which she screams and he apologizes, and claims that he was very glad to see her. The young lady thinks that no, and in fact she is glad to see him, but frankly speaking, she even missed him more than he did. But this feeling, she can't decide whether to tell her she's glad. The Sultan, meanwhile, insists that he wanted to see her, so he came as quickly as he could, and the work had just piled up so much that he had to go straight to the official residence, so when he finished work, he suggested having dinner together. The guy also believes that he will not have time to look there later and wonders if she can take on her human form. Then they kiss, and the girl returns to her human form. She also claims that she was so upset after being scolded. But when she lifts the blanket, she realizes that Suleiman has already left, after which the girl hits the pillow. And he cries out that he can't just leave having said everything he wanted. After all, she had been through so much while he was gone. And the girl asks if she was the only one who thought that he would wait for her. A little while later, the young lady realizes that she needs to calm down, because she was simply glad to have such a long-awaited meeting. The reason she is acting so strange now is because it has been too long since they had dinner together. And the girl then looks at herself and also thinks that today she looks better. But then the young lady thinks that she really likes it. But this is not the same feeling. At this time, one of the maids claims that things have arrived from Chimbain and also asks whether to take them to the room. Erin then says it's incredible, and she thought they'd already arrived. The main character then asks if she's talking about the chambers, after which the maid replies that yes, Chamban is a place where clothes are made only for members of the royal family or high-ranking officials who live in the palace. The main character asks why and whether they don't sell clothes outside the palace, to which the girl replies that there are also many famous shops outside the palace, but these ones live right in the palace, and most of the nobility prefer clothes from Chimbans. She heard that there were beautiful fabrics there that you couldn't buy for money, as well as several famous designers. She thinks her new summer dress has arrived, so she'll go and pick it up. The main character, seeing all the dresses and jewelry being worn, asks what it all is. The maid claims that summer is coming soon, so she ordered several types of fabrics and decorations. The main character then says that besides, she is not of royal blood, and moreover, she does not know, so there is no point in giving her something like that. Well, the maid claims that this was Suleiman's request, and the Sultan gave special permission, but the main character thinks it's okay to fly and enjoy the favor. A little while later, the teacher tells Ishtar that that's all for today. He also slams his hand on the table, which frightens the girl. And Aziz claims that for some reason, it seems to him that today her thoughts were completely different. He also asks if the lady is worried about something, and she doesn't even know how to say it, after which she thinks that he will give her an even bigger task, and they understand that, of course, not. The young lady says that she means the veil and will no longer wear it within the palace, after which the guy says she can do whatever she wants. The young lady then says that this is surprising, because she thought he didn't like being insulted. Aziz argues that otherwise it would be better to create more noise in the palace now. And in fact, everything is already fine, because Suleiman kicked them all out, which is why the young lady is surprised and wonders if he really wants to say that he kicked them out because of her. Aziz claims it's because Ishtar has always been the prince's priority. On the other hand, he was kind to Ishtar and also knew she would be embarrassed by them. The main character then realizes that she has not paid enough attention to Suleiman until recently, because she planned to leave without any regrets, and believed that he only thinks about her in this way, so the girl thinks that she is confused and does not know what to do now. And she also really doesn't know what to do, so the girl also thinks that this is what worries her the most. But then the young lady thinks she's truly gone mad. At this point, the teacher turns to Lady Ishtar. He asks if she's okay, because if there's a lady, she doesn't want to talk. The girl replies that it's okay and says she'll continue. The main character claims that she felt spiritual powers received from Ashtar. The same thing happened on the night His Majesty was crowned. The man claims it's a very interesting story, and also the fountain called the Blessing of Ashtar was built here at the same time as the palace, and in fact it is the most ordinary fountain, but if you activate it, you can get holy water that contains powers. The young lady says that this is probably why she was so attached to the source, and the man believes that her awakening happened at the same time. After which he also says that now that they started talking about this important matter, he felt a little sad. But the young lady claims that Aziz has many suspicious ideas, and she doesn't even know what to believe. The young lady then says that Ishtar has become herself again, and he likes it, but the girl insists that's not all. After all, she didn't sit idly by. After which she points to the books. The man says that this is enough, after which the young lady wonders if it's time to start training. Aziz asks what exactly the girl wants to start with, to which she replies that she first wants to study the sacred powers. Ishtar claims that she wants to learn how to use them and cannot just sit and wait for someone to come to the rescue, so she must rely on herself. The guy smiles after this and says that this is great, because now Ishtar has enough motivation. And since she says so, they should increase the number of lessons, so let the girl take care of him as her teacher once again, The girl understands that she brought this on herself. A little while later, she asks the maid if she is sure that this is a personal library, to which she replies that yes, this is one of His Majesty's secret places. Ishtar realizes that she thought it was a small library, since there is no one there, and she feels a little uncomfortable. Orion then says that the mistress can therefore look around and that she will wait for her at the entrance. The main character says that's fine, and thanks the maid. She also understands that she has a little time until he returns, so he can look for what she needs. Then the girl notices one of the books about the Empire and thinks what it is, after which she picks it up. And when she opens it, she notices some scribbles inside. Well, then the young lady realizes that these aren't scribbles, but a child's handwriting. And maybe Suleiman wrote this in childhood, after which the girl smiles and thinks how cute it is. Then a man in a cassock comes up to her from behind and asks what she's looking at. This frightens the young lady and causes her to lose her balance. And Suleiman picks her up and claims that it is dangerous because the girl could get hurt. The young lady looks at Suleiman and then realizes that this situation has become very risky. And at this rate, she'll really go crazy. The man then asks if the lady is injured, but she replies that she is fine, so he can let her go. The girl also understands that she has Garrett's face. Meanwhile, the Sultan picks up the book and claims he was looking for it. Ishtar asks if he read it when he was a child. Suleiman replies that he hasn't seen her in a while, so he actually misses her. The girl then notices her handwriting and says it's unrecognizable. The guy claims that when he was a child, he wrote very crookedly and also remembers how teachers scolded him while they tried to correct it. Ishtar says she thinks it's a bit hard for children, but the Sultan claims that the prince receives all kinds of education from childhood. And he read this when he was 10 years old. The main character thinks this book is the same thickness as a university book. The Sultan claims this is less than other princes. His mother didn't force him to study much, but she was stricter in other things. For example, she was extremely interested in his training in martial arts and participating in fights. And she said that you can't become a good commander-in-chief using only your head. The main character then thinks, was this body really created for this? And after all, a man must have a good physique. The girl also understands that he has been looking at her all this time and wonders why he is looking at her like that. The Sultan claims that it seems like she is wearing this dress for the first time and that it has unusual embroidery, so it was probably brought from abroad. The girl replies that she took this dress to the Ichimban, and since it was already ready, the lady wanted to wear it, after which she asks if it suits her. The guy replies that yes, this dress is as beautiful as her eyes. The main character then becomes embarrassed and claims he said it so suddenly, after which she simply suggests they go out to eat, to which Suleiman agrees, but he claims there seems to be a problem. Afterwards, the main character looks out the window and sees that the sun is already quite low. Ishtar realizes that he returned her to human form too early this morning and perhaps doesn't have much time left for a quiet dinner. At this point, the man asks if she is upset, after which the young lady only smiles and says that Aaron told her that they would serve very tasty fish today. Well, everything is fine because she heard that today they will prepare something for the cats too, just in case. The Sultan then smiles and approaches Ishtar and also turns to her and tells the girl to put it down, after which he moves closer and kisses the young lady. A short time later, the two are already sitting at the table. The Sultan tells Ishtar not to rush because there is enough food there, but the girl is angry, and he wonders if he's really asking her to restrain herself when there's so much food in front of her. Her entire past life was spent studying and working part-time, and in the end, she fell into an eternal sleep alone, and that was her first kiss. The girl also thinks it's unfair even if they kiss every morning. That's something else, and she doesn't know for what purpose the prince kissed her, but now the lady takes a glass of wine and drinks it in one go. And he also asks for another drink. After that, the guy asks if there's something she doesn't like, but the young lady only addresses the prince, after which he suggests calling him by his name, and the girl does so. After which she tries to talk about a kiss, but it still doesn't work. That's why she says it's okay and understands that it's not a problem, because this guy is handsome and has a great body. Suleiman took her first kiss, but he smiles so relaxed that the girl thinks that he is a real villain. The guy looking at the young lady is surprised and then approaches her. He also holds her with his hand, so she doesn't fall onto the table. One of the servants asks if he should take her to her cassock room, but he says no, and he will do it himself, after which he takes the girl in his arms and invites her to go. The young lady simply screams for him to return her first kiss. Then the Sultan is shocked. One of the servants barely restrains himself from laughing. A short time later, the doctor claims that her body produces few enzymes that break down alcohol, which is why she gets drunk so easily. And her body isn't used to it. So the main character thinks it can't be Togo, because she's calmly drank 2 bottles of soju. The girl was used to drinking heavily in her past life, but in this one she falls over after a couple of glasses. At this time, the prince asks how the lady feels, after which she says that her whole body is burning, but it's probably just a slight fever. Then the guy approaches her and offers to check. He places his hand on the young lady's forehead, after which he says he's hot and that it's too much for a normal hangover. The main character, after examining the Sultan, thinks he's too close, after which she claims that she is fine and not sick, because it is because of alcohol. At this time, the guy is thinking how cute it is, and he can't say for sure. But it seems like everything overlapped, and he was worried that something had happened, after which the man dips a towel in water and wipes the young lady's face. The protagonist then turns to Suleiman, and she asks why he's smiling like that, because it's unnerving. But the guy says that it's just the first time he's seen her like this. The young lady is surprised by this, and the Sultan thinks it's funny, after which he thinks he'll tease her a little more, and also move a little closer. He would like to help her wipe her wet face, and then kiss her eyes and blushing cheeks. But he still needs to be patient, otherwise he'll scare his cat. The girl tells him not to play tricks on her like that, and the guy realizes that he can no longer restrain himself from pretending that he simply cares about her. Well, he still thinks why when he is with Ishtar, who becomes a completely different person, and he feels like there's something black curled up in his stomach, and he loves her even more than he thought. At this time, the main character asks why the guy is looking at her like that and remains silent. And he understands that he must keep this a secret, after which he rises from his seat and states that it is time for him to return. If the girl develops a fever, she should immediately call a doctor. Ishtar agrees, after which the Sultan addresses her again. He also kisses her hand and claims that he will try to return to her as quickly as possible. A little while later, the man already sees a mountain of documents in the office. He also sends a letter with the help of a hawk and talks with business partners. After that, he realizes that he works so much and still has more work to do, and he can't even dream of rest. At this time, a knight also comes to Suleiman, addresses him, and also states that the master needs to see something. A little while later, the guy is already looking at the arrowhead, and the knight claims that it was found at the scene. The tip is made of durable sneaker material and is quite long and sharp. The arrow seemed to be designed to poison rather than put someone into eternal sleep, and he verified that the poison was made from a plant called aconite. At this time, Suleiman thinks that it seems that just this one word can make him feel bad. After which, he claims that the hit caused an instant immersion into eternal sleep, and that this is such a shame. He also asks if the guy is saying the poison is made from a flower. Evelyn replies that it's not the audience or the snakes, but rather from a difficult-to-grow plant. The man then says that they need to find the source, and asks if anyone survived, after which the guy claims that most of them independently entered into eternal sleep. The Sultan understands that perhaps he was not a swordsman, but was saved thanks to poison. And this is so pitiful, after which the man says that it is disgusting, and squeezes his wound a little, after which red liquid begins to come out of it. The knight points out His Highness's wound, but he merely suggests bringing new clothes. After all, when she sees it, she'll definitely be frightened. And he will worry, after which Suleiman only smiles, and also claims that he will interrogate the survivors personally. So let him bring a priest to heal them. The guy also understands that normally he would fix everything properly, but as he continues to be exposed to danger, Ishtar's situation worsens, so he must protect her at any cost. Then the guy also punches the wall, and he says that this time they will definitely find the culprit. Blondinok, meanwhile, is in her garden, and asks if this means the prince has returned unharmed. Then the shadow replies that, and the guy is wondering if he has really used his old tricks again, and that he always loses, but never learns anything. The guy also turns to one of the servants and asks if there is any news from the guild, to which he replies that there was recently a dispute about the rights to black market goods. And the guy says that they are so funny and he doesn't even think about who will be next on the list. But the higher the reputation, the more people learn about them, and they become even more powerful. One of the onions claims that after 5 days it became known that the ship had moored in the port of Venta, and the guy with a smile on his face claims that he can finally give it to his mother. But sometimes you have to be a good son, after which he asks if that's true. The boy then recalls how his mother said that Theon must become Sultan at any cost, because that's the only way to survive in this palace. The boy doesn't know how to take revenge, but he must try to fight. He also remembers his mother saying, "Damn it all!" And she also hates this kingdom that made her so unhappy. The guy understands that sometimes he feels sorry for his mother, because love is a terrible thing, and it is very sad when your feelings are not reciprocated. The guy thought he would never understand this, but now he understands that for the first time he has become so greedy. After which, he also thinks that maybe he should have taken her away. Even then, it's awkward to keep these feelings in his heart when this girl belongs to his brother, but he feels good and thinks it's strange. After all, even if the girl was not a real cat from the prophecy, she was still attached to him. Well, this can be changed at any moment, but this guy claims that it would be better if the arrow hit this sultan, and also tells his brother what a pity it is. And also, let the guy try to make sure that this girl is not taken away from him, because he will take everything from him himself. At this time, the main character is thinking about what happened to this guy, because at first he was so cold, and then he became kinder. And after the trip to the market, he distanced himself from her. And now, after his absence, he behaves as if he decided to give her love. But in any case, people understand that she is a cat, and isn't it obvious that the Sultan should take care of her? After which, the girl screams out that she doesn't know, and in her thoughts adds that she's simply trying to suppress feelings that resemble affection. However, if he persists, it will become difficult to restrain himself. At this point, someone picks up the cat and addresses it. He also asks what is bothering her, after which the girl understands that she will not say anything and climb on the Sultan's head. He just smiles and claims he has something he was planning to give it to her, but he thinks the girl won't like it. The main character is only happy after this, and the guy says how quick she is, after which he claims that he came to tell her something, because it seems that she spends too much time in the palace, and it's worth breathing more fresh air, so if she doesn't mind, they can go for a walk tomorrow. After which the Sultan asks her what she will say, and the young lady only agrees. A short time later, the two go outside. Suleiman says he hopes the lady will like him, but a window in his mind warns him that she is still angry, and he also wonders if he really thinks she will be friendly just because they are there. But then the main character looks at the magnificent landscape and is surprised because it is very beautiful there. The girl claims that it is amazing and that it is the first time she has seen such a stunning landscape. She also meows as if thanking the Sultan for bringing her there. But then she notices that he moves away a little. The Sultan says there's nothing special there. Well, the girl immediately tells him to let her take a look. But the guy then says that it's not necessary, after which the young lady screams at him not to move and moves his clothes away. Then she sees a wound there. The guy claims the wound is so big because of the poison, and there are no bruises, so she shouldn't worry. But the main character then wonders if this really happened after the trip, and she is sure that the guy received treatment when he returned. But I spread so much that it must be very painful for him. The girl also thinks how he can remain so calm, and even though she is so close, she cannot believe that she did not notice anything. That's why the main character thinks how stupid she is, after which he starts crying. The guy claims that if he had known that this would happen, he would have said so earlier, after which he claims that it's a trifle, so she shouldn't worry. The girl meows as if asking if this is true, to which the guy replies that yes, and he is resistant to most poisons. And yet the young lady thinks that it hurts, and the Sultan claims that, besides, he does not want her to worry because he is there because of her. Ishtar understands that if she thinks about it, Suleiman periodically has attacks. But the girl also remembers that she was able to help her back then. Maybe she can help her now too. Ishtar also wonders if her power only affects the curse, and what will happen if she touches a larger wound. The girl also thinks that, had she known this would happen, she would have trained harder. But then she realizes that she needs to think carefully because she has learned the basics of using the power of the goddess, and this power comes from faith and hope, so maybe she will be able to ease the pain. After which the girl realizes that she has nothing to lose and puts her paw on the guy's earlier, which surprises him a little. The girl understands that although it is because of him that she is sad, these last days, Suleiman is her butler and friend, so she asks for the wound to stop hurting. Then the power begins to work and the boy's wound heals. He also claims that the pain has completely disappeared, and the main character doesn't realize that she actually succeeded. The Sultan claims the arrow wound has completely healed, which is incredible. The main character thinks, well, she's a genius after all. After which, the guy thanks his goddess of luck, and the main character thinks that it seems she likes the Sultan more than she thought. A little while later, the girl lies in bed and thinks that she has never fallen in love, and the prince is the first one she liked. The girl thinks that in fairy tales it's so romantic, but in reality it's ballast. But then she also wonders what if he feels the same way, and if they can be together, but he might have several girlfriends. And if the Sultan wants, he can create a whole harem, but she who came from the modern world will never accept this. In any case, she can only hope for a light romantic adventure. But worse, what would happen to her plan to help him and harem, and also to quickly escape behind the palace? The girl then says that nothing has happened yet, but she is already worried. But at that very moment, someone knocks on the room. He also apologizes for disturbing her. The girl asks if it's Aziz, then asks if they have a morning class planned. The guy replies that if he hadn't answered, he felt the power of the goddess at dawn. Also wonders if something happened, after which the main character realizes that Suleiman had a serious wound and she healed it. The guy claims that the poison was so strong that it was difficult for him to treat it. So how did she manage it? The girl replies that she simply did what the goddess taught her in a dream, and she remembers it a little poorly. The guy claims that the goddess chose her. However, the girl has poor control over her power, and the magic used a few hours ago was excessive. The young lady asks if this is really true, as she didn't know, after which the guy claims that it is, because she hasn't learned how to handle her yet. Just being next to Suleiman, the girl spent a lot of energy, and if it were not for the power of the goddess, it would have been difficult. But Ishtar claims that she doesn't do anything like that at normal times, and yet the guy suggests that she be careful. After all, the prince won't be able to bear it if she falls into eternal sleep in his arms, after which the guy claims that they will see each other at the evening class. A little while later, the girl is already meditating and realizes that she thought her powers would develop faster. Well, now she can't help it anymore from boredom, and is wondering if meditation really can help. The teacher claims that she already has everything for this, and that an ordinary priest would have to train his whole life to use such power. And the lady just needs to think about it, and the girl wonders if this means she doesn't need to meditate. But the guy claims that her advantage could turn into a failure. And after all, as soon as Lady Ishtar masters control over the mind, she will quickly learn to fully control her power. The girl then thinks that she has been lacking confidence lately, after which she also turns to Aziz and asks what he has in his hands. And the guy claims that today is the last practice, so he brought this baby. The main character looking at this cat thinks how cute he is, and Aziz claims that he is being cared for in the temple, and how the lady sees that he has a congenital disease, and this is different from what she has encountered. He wants to see if the lady can cure him. The main character then says that he is so small, after which he claims that he will try to do this, and the teacher claims that it is in order to use divine power. First of all, one must have willpower and a strong mind, but desire alone is not enough. The goddess's power is based on water and is the flow of life. So let the lady feel the energy of the air, the trees, and the sky around her, and purify her body. Then he uses this power. The young lady thinks that if she had heard this before, she would have thought it was so strange, but she had already tried using the power when she met Ashtar. Therefore, the lady understands that she can, and begins to use this power, after which the cat is healed. The main character turns to the baby and asks if he is okay, after which she thinks about what happened. The cat only licks the young lady, and the main character asks if the teacher saw it. After all this, Cat is completely healthy, and the allergy will return to her. Well, then she sees the surprised expression on Aziz's face, and he asks if he's okay, after which the guy comes out of his thoughts about the young lady and wonders if something is wrong. And perhaps she used her power incorrectly, after which the guys answer that, no, and it looks like everything is fine with the kitten. The main character wonders why he reacted that way. The guy simply asks him to forgive her, as he showed the lady his stupidity. He really is surprised after all. Besides the trauma of internal wounds and curses, he didn't know congenital illnesses could be cured. Ishtar then wonders if he really expected her to fail, after which the guy claims that, besides, he hasn't seen her image in a long time. The main character asks if he's talking about the image of the goddess, and the guy replies that no, and that he is an ordinary priest, so he is not allowed to meet the goddess. He also thanks the lady for healing the baby, because the children of the temple love him very much. The girl then claims that if another kitten is sick, she will cure it. Meanwhile, the boy recalls how someone once told him to let her know if anyone gets sick, because she will heal them all, after which he claims that Lady Ishtar is indeed a kind person. At this time, the Sultan thinks about a special tip that holds a strong poison that can seriously injure with a light touch. It's hard to get, and there's only one person capable of it, but they still can't catch him. The mercenaries' testimony, they searched the black market and found out the source of distribution. Verhan is behind all this. This man is Theron's uncle and had a bad reputation, so he decided to clear his name by joining Roxolana's family. Despite the risk, it is a shield that can be used in a pinch, after which the Sultan thanks at least for not being attacked in the palace. He also turns to Yevlan and asks if he's found out anything about the trading location. The guy replies that, yes, they've heard it's located between the cargo ship docks. It looks like they'll find Dieter there. Another servant asks if the guy means the biggest black market dealer. The guy replies that yes, and a shadow magnate whose influence extends throughout the kingdom, as well as into neighboring countries. These people appeared 5 years ago and established themselves as the largest guild, and became a problem. The Sultan then says that's excellent, and that they should proceed with caution, after which the guy asserts that there is, and they will be careful. Suleiman also inquires about the weapons, to which one of the servants replies that the dock is small, so most likely not. But His Highness claims that perhaps they trade it here, and if their goal is to transport weapons, then this place is nearby. So they can split up and start searching, and if they find anything suspicious, they should report it to him immediately. A little while later, someone informs the Sultan that it looks like they were brought from other countries. Regulation of the arms trade has become strict, so it is brought in from abroad, and judging by its scale, this is big business. The guy realizes that this is a black market guild, and they not only deal with competitors, but also deal with private cooperation. In the end, it is the civilians who suffer, so the man claims that today they will attack them and destroy everything, and also expose Verhan's conspiracy, after which the guy tells them to surround the perimeter and make sure they capture the main conspirators. A little while later, one man claims that he doesn't know who these people are, but they look very important. He also claims that he will provide the required quantity, so let them decide on a date as soon as possible. After which he agrees and states that they hope for further cooperation, and the Sultan waves his hand, after which he screams, "Now!" and they begin the attack. Then the man with the suitcases of gold coins screams for his charge to stop them. He runs away and screams for the leader to be protected, but then the Sultan attacks him, causing the man to fall. And then he sees a sword near his neck. Suleiman says it's all over, after which the man says he's a monster and asks about the deal, but his interlocutor replies that he'd better watch his words. After all, he will tell them everything he knows, after which the man says no and uses some kind of artifact. It starts to glow, and then there's an explosion. Yevlan screams in shock at the gentleman, asking if he's okay. The man claims he's safe, then says the merchant has already fallen into eternal slumber and asks what happened to the guild. The knight replies that there's no trace left and asks what they should do. The man then tells them to take the dead bodies to the cells and also bring records of the entrances and exits from the port over the past week. After all, they have to find at least one clue. A little while later, someone informs the gentleman that all the participants in today's deal have fallen into eternal sleep. The man then asks what happened to the cargo, to which the servant replies that they say the cart with the goods is heading to the kingdom. The guild members committed suicide with an exploding magic stone, but they took the cargo and can find clues, so the guy asks what they should do. But this man tells him to forget about it, because they have moved several times and they will not be caught. And yet he's such a pain in the ass that he'll send this guy a gift. It would be nice to create a few incidents in the capital so that they don't have to worry about such a trifle, after which the servant claims that he will do as the master orders. The guy with blonde hair tells him to get on with it and find new people with a smart leader, because he hates unnecessary noise. A short time later, the protagonist and the Sultan are sitting at the table with Hurrem. The woman claims to have heard the news, and the girl helps in the stables and in the kitchen, where outsiders are not allowed, so everyone is grateful. The protagonist replies that she was simply doing what she had to. The girl also notices the cat in the Sultana's arms, and he says that, by the way, this cat is very handsome, after which he asks how old he is, to which the woman replies that he is already well over 15, and this is her first animal, which appeared when Suleiman was born. Since they grew up together, this coat is also special for him, but due to old age, he can no longer walk, but he used to love to run everywhere. The main character then says that if the woman doesn't mind, then can she take a look? The girl also understands that he hasn't walked for a long time, and his backside is hard as a rock, although if she uses force, she can help his. After which the main character uses it, and the cat gets to its feet and then runs away. The woman says that this is unthinkable, and she cannot believe her eyes, because seeing this gold running again is wonderful. So Kiram thanks Ishtar. The protagonist says there's no need, and she can turn to her. But then the woman claims that, frankly, she has a favor to ask the young lady. She doesn't know if the girl heard, but recently there's been an attack in the capital, causing great harm and affecting many people. Unfortunately, there aren't enough treatment centers in the kingdom yet, and the main character wonders if the lady wants to ask her for help. The woman claims it would be great if she could cure people, but at that very moment, the Sultan extends his hand in front of her and cries out that no way. After all, he can't put anyone in danger, and that's unacceptable. The woman then smiles and tells Ishtar that she needs to speak with Suleiman alone, so she asks if she'll wait a minute. When these two are left at the table, the woman asks her son if he likes this girl. The guy then thinks about it and realizes that a simple feeling of sympathy will not explain the passion in his heart. After all, he wants to protect this girl and see her bright smile, and it also seems to him that he is going crazy when he sees her tears and sadness. Someday, a girl will meet the one and look tenderly into his eyes. It's a wonderfully ironic feeling, and rejecting it would be wrong. That's why the guy claims that it's not enough to say that he likes her, because he values her more than anything in this world. Karem asks if the guy knows the weight of his words, to which he replies that he does. And the woman claims that he doesn't understand how difficult they are, because if he values her, then let her give him the opportunity to show himself. If this girl is dear to him only because of her beauty, then it cannot be called falling in love. The guy then claims that he can at least protect her, but the woman screams that this is nonsense, and if he really wants to claim the throne, then he should slow down and look at reality. Let Ishtar show her the world and give her wings so she can fly. If the girl wants to be with him, she will stay forever, and only then can he truly be with her. Well, this girl is special, because you never know what danger is lurking around the corner, but you can't lock her in a palace like a cage, because that's wrong. Later, he will understand everything himself, after which the woman says that she thinks she will rest today because she does not want to hear his grumbling. So let him go already, to which the guy agrees. A little while later, the main character looks at her reflection and thinks the same thing. Suleiman doesn't like this, and it's probably because her status now is that of a house cat. At this time, the Sultan turns to the young lady, and she asks if they have finished, and also what he talked about with Huriam. The guy replies that it's about that matter, after which he asks if the girl trained with a teacher to treat people for something, and she replies that yes, and her skills are excellent. If something happens and causes pain, well, then the girl screams that he's suddenly hurt again. The guy replies that it's nothing special, and it's an old wound, but everything's fine now. The girl also thinks it must have been hard for him, so after that, she leans against him. The guy is then a little surprised and asks Ishtar what is going on, but the girl just rips his clothes, after which he begins to use his power and tells him not to get sick, and also hopes that he will be okay, after which the guy realizes that his wound has healed. He also lifts the young lady into his arms, which surprises her, and the guy replies that it's good, and he would do anything for her. After talking with Cure, the girl visited the temple with Aziz. Of course, there was an uproar when the stranger became a priest, but after a test demonstration of her abilities, the discontent died down. Horror froze in the people's eyes, and then the girl realized what a frightening power she had received. But by the way, she thinks, what difference does it make, whether she is a witch or an angel from the world of gods? The young lady also turns to the teacher and asks if he hears the strange rumors that are circulating in the palace, to which the boys answer that it is possible. But people have always loved to gossip. But the girl wonders what if this gradually reveals her true identity as a cat. However, the guy then asks Lady Ishtar what she thinks it means to be sent by the goddess. The girl replies that it means being an adornment next to the Sultan. The boy replies that this is an interesting statement, and people say that the cat in the prophecy is a sacred animal. Well, the young lady thinks that this is nonsense, after which the guy claims that now is not the right time to reveal the truth. If it turns out that the cat from the prophecy is a person, this will lead to great confusion, and the lady will face many temptations. The young lady then claims that she has already decided that she will help Suleiman and will not change her decision. To which the guy replies that, unfortunately, people will think so, and they will make every effort to attract her attention, and no one knows where this will all lead. The young lady replies that he is right, after which the guy claims that her holy power is incomparable to anything's. Previously, it would have been enough for her to be recognized as a saint, and if someone wanted to use her for harm, the main character asks if he is talking about the saint, and this is the first time she hears about it, after which the guy shudders, and the young lady thinks what is wrong with him, after which she asks about it. And the guy claims that in short, if she wants to help the temple healers, then she will have to control herself, so he suggests training even harder, which frightens the young lady. That same evening, she's already exhausted, wondering if she should really try even harder if she becomes a priest. At this time, the Sultan asks how the girl is feeling, after which she meows, as if to say that everything is fine, and the Sultan understands that he misses her human form. Once a feeling flares up, it lights an indomitable fire in his thoughts, and he wants to tell her that he loves her, and also ask her to stay by his side. But he must let her do what she wants, because they say that this is the only way to create a real relationship, which means the flame should be invited. The man also tells Ishtar that he has no one to talk to, and sometimes he really wants a friend nearby. After which, he asks if she would mind if they talked today, and right now, if possible. After which, the main character thinks this means he'll kiss her now. And besides, if she changes her appearance, she'll remain human until the morning and will have to change again to last the whole day. The guy then says that, as expected, it's a bit difficult, and the main character thinks, what is he talking about? And that's not the point, after which she meows, as if asking the Sultan to listen. And Suleiman claims that he is right to appreciate that she is nearby, but he must be too greedy, and it's his own fault he has no friends. The main character, Ottawa, merely meows as if to say, okay, let him do it already. To which the guy replies that, as expected, he has no one but her, after which he thanks the lady, after which he kisses her, and the girl transforms into her human form. She also understands that the guy said that he wanted to talk, and he then claims that, yes, he played on her pity a little, but there is no need to look at him like that. The young lady then asks if he was pretending, after which he replies that it is true, and he simply really wanted the girl to be in human form today. After this, the main character only gets embarrassed and screams, "Is he serious?" But she thought that something happened. She also asks if he even knew how worried she was, after which the guy apologizes. But he pulls the girl closer to him and asks if she will fight anymore. The main character is a little surprised by this, and the guy claims that he is afraid he would have to be taken to the priests if she continued to beat him. After which the two smile, and the guy claims that something is really bothering him, so let the girl stay with him today. The main character wonders what the matter is, and whether he really has too much work, or is someone bothering him, after which she asks if something is bothering Suleiman, and whether it might be connected to Dieter. The guy is then a little surprised. The girl claims that she doesn't know who he is, but she heard Theon and Roxolana's conversation earlier. They stood far away, and not everything was clear, only that he was going to send something to the capital. After which, the girl says that maybe it's important. Suleiman then grabs the girl by the shoulder and asks what happened between her and Theron. The man thinks his brother must have brought her closer to him to use him for political purposes. But then, he thinks that if this is not so, and this guy has feelings for her, after which the Sultan's face is darker than this, the main characters do not answer, that there is nothing special. She also understands that now she feels like she is deceiving him, and it makes her chest hurt. But if she tells him that Theron can also turn her into a human, that would be a major blow to Suleiman's position. Besides, if she told him she once lost consciousness, he would be worried, so she didn't want to bother him anymore. The lady claims that she was walking in the garden and accidentally overheard, after which the guy asks if this is really true, and the young lady replies that yes, because she was in the form of a cat. The Sultan asks if this is really true, and the young lady wonders if he really thinks she is lying. After which, the girl hugs the Sultan and apologizes for making him worry, but she just wants his work to go well. After which, the young lady asks him not to be angry, but the boy simply turns to Ishtar and insists that he understands. But next time, she shouldn't approach that guy, because he's a dangerous man, even if you wouldn't know it. Ishtar remembers how this guy claimed that he was sure that he was seeing her for the first time, but thinks that there is no mistake in the fact that he really is like that, and she herself doesn't want to show herself to him. The Sultan, meanwhile, insists that, as he thought, more guards should have been assigned to her, after which the young lady is surprised and insists that this would be too much trouble, or that 3 soldiers would be sufficient. However, the guy replies that he won't do anything and asks if she really wants him to accompany her to the city, after which the girl only becomes embarrassed. The Sultan tells her to think about which is better, him or the guards. After which the guy also rises from his seat and declares that it's too late. So it's time to go to bed, the main character says that's right, and he should go to his room too, but he replies that he doesn't want to, and then lies down on the bed with the young lady. And he hugs her, and also says that he will let her sleep like this in exchange for the lady telling him a good thing. After this, the main character says that then she will just lie down on the pillow, because that will be the right thing to do. But the guy insists that it's better for her to try to fall asleep while he's hugging her, and they'll lie like that until she falls asleep. After which the main character screams, wishing him good night, and the Sultan only smiles. A little while later, the guy gets up and realizes that the girl is sleeping so sweetly, after which he kisses her on the forehead, and he claims he wants her to always be by his side. He understands that if she woke up during his confession, what would she say? He's sure those words would be burdensome for her. And besides, he's only just now receiving help. If Ishtar says she wants to leave, she won't be able to help him with the curse that might return. But oddly enough, beyond the pain, he fears the girl will one day disappear. A short time ago, the woman asked her son if he knew what the lady had asked her for. After all, others would have chosen land and riches, but what she wanted was freedom. And if Ishtar could become happy in another place next to him, would he let her go? The guy then thinks that even if Ishtar becomes free, will she stay with him? And what should he do? The Sultan considers whether he can be with her. Then he touches the young lady's face and tells her to wait a little longer, because he will work harder to become a man worthy of her. The Sultan also kisses the young lady, after which she smiles in her sleep and wishes her good night. A few days later, the day came when the girl decided to visit a treatment center in the capital. And fortunately, Suleiman agreed to provide her with security instead of going himself. One of the knights then asks the lady if she's looking for something. She replies, no, then turns to the maid and asks if she's seen the teacher. Aaron replies that he wasn't there, and his servant did give her something, after which the maid asked if the lady would look in the carriage. The protagonist then looks at the letter, which states that the lady worked hard to improve her abilities and did better than he expected. With nothing more to teach her, he praises her wholeheartedly. The young lady then realizes that Aziz has praised her, and it's even unexpected. And then it says that from today on, she doesn't have to come to him. And from now on, it's better for the lady to explore this world, and herself, on her own. He'll be gone for a while, so the guy hopes she'll overcome all the difficulties that come her way, and he's enclosing a small gift that will delay her stay in cat form. The young lady takes a magic stone out of her bag, and thinks, in other words, that from now on, there's no help to be had, and she must figure things out on her own. The girl also comments on what an irresponsible teacher this is. Even a cat abandons her kittens to their fate when they reach a certain age, so they can learn to survive. And the girl wonders if the same thing could happen to her. But they could just meet and talk, so the girl thinks, why was it necessary to communicate such information via letter? If you think about it, the teacher was always emotional and agitated. At times, he seemed alarmed, as if he'd revealed a long-buried secret and then hidden it. As if he were afraid she would find out, the girl insists she'll never understand a man who's lived for hundreds of years. But will she be able to overcome her sadness? A short time later, the servant confirms they've arrived. Yvonne helps the lady out, and claims that this was originally the largest Ashtar temple in the capital. Now that the number of patients has increased, the Sultana has opened it to everyone. Behind this door is the heart of the infirmary, where many wounded and sick people are kept, so they aren't frightened afterward. The main character enters and sees a horrific scene. One of the doctors cries out that the patient is in critical condition, so they should disperse. The main character then understands that she needs help and is going to go there. But the knight tells the lady that it is impossible, because if she goes, she will see an unpleasant scene. But the young lady tells him to move away, because she came there to help people. And why did they even make such a long journey there? At this point, one of the patients pleads and insists that it doesn't matter what happens to her. The main thing is that they save her child. Then the man says, there is too much red liquid, so let the guy bring it more herbs, to which he agrees, and runs while the main character heads towards the woman. Then the doctor asks who she is, because only urgent patients are allowed there, and they should get out. But the young lady replies that she is not a patient but a priest from the palace, and can cure this woman. Then the doctor steps away, but wonders if this young girl is a priest, and he doesn't believe it. But then the knight cries out that he is the governor of this city, and also Suleiman's assistant. He guarantees this girl's status. So since this is an emergency, let them refrain from being rude. The main character tells them to be quiet, but she needs to concentrate, after which she mentally prays for the mother and child to be okay, and uses her power, after which the wounds heal, and one of the priests, shocked, says that the red liquid has stopped flowing. All the wounds have healed, so he asks how this is even possible. The main character thinks how lucky she is to have this baby, and the woman asks if everything is okay with her baby. The main character replies that he is fine, and that they shouldn't worry, and to focus on the treatment. Her mercy at all. Meanwhile, one of the doctors claims that this is the first time he's heard of a priest being able to heal any wound, and that it's some kind of miracle. A little while later, a man is already sitting in front of the young lady and asks for forgiveness for the late greeting. But he claims that his name is Darkan, and that he also heads this treatment center and is glad to meet her. The lady surprised him because when he went out to meet her, he saw a blinding light, and the main character apologizes and also claims that the situation was urgent. The man tells the lady not to apologize and thanks her for her help. But the light was indeed too bright, so he asks if there's a way to hide it. Ishtar realizes she'd been told to be careful, but she was acting on instinct. The man then asks Lady Ishtar if she saw those following them. After all, they were the patient's relatives, and they were there for the lady to heal them. The man also claims that they managed to send them back today, but next time they'll have to resort to force. Ishtar understands that she can't yet treat many people, so she must be careful. The man insists that he'll first tell her about the infirmary, seeing that it was originally small and divided into several sections under the control of the royal family. Recently, explosions have become more frequent throughout the city, and even more people have been injured in encounters with criminals. Due to the large number of injured, a treatment center was opened there, and when chaos reigns, children, women, and the elderly suffer, frankly speaking. The situation in the capital is dire, and chaos is everywhere. The main character then turns to Darkan and asks him to prepare information on the infirmary's condition. The man then says, "Fine," but wonders what the ladies are planning to do. Ishtar replies that she has an idea. Meanwhile, Suleiman is fighting and realizes that territorial struggles are pointless. Unlike their reputation, they disappoint him, after which the guy tells Yevlan to sort out the area, to which the guy agrees. And the man also tells him to arrest and interrogate those who are alive, because the instigator of the unrest needs to be found, after which the boy nods. And Suleiman understands that they are the ones wreaking havoc in the capital, and that a smart leader must be behind all of this, because the balance of power is just as important as tipping a scale with a weight. This incident was caused by someone who knew the situation, and he turned it to his advantage by shifting the weight onto the board, so Suleiman felt as if an invisible hand was playing with him. Taking on the role of governor, he analyzed the data on criminals clearly linked to Roxolana, but he only managed to learn the name of the guild. After the last incident at the port, everything seemed cleared up, but their identity remained a mystery. A short time ago, the knights informed their master that they had received information that the head of Diaether was alive. They cleared everything out, and some started talking before the interrogation, after which the man asks what they said about the guy. They answer that about a month ago there was a major conflict between organizations involved in the smuggling of prohibited goods. The number of supplies was sharply reduced in the place where the goods were supplied, and only a few were given monopoly rights. Suleiman then claims the conflict flared up on its own, but the knight says that in addition to that, the organizations that were granted an exception incited their competitors to revolt. It seems they had prepared thoroughly. The man, meanwhile, is thinking about violence and territorial disputes, as well as kings indiscriminately occupying positions, and Ishtar at the center of it all. He's ashamed of his helplessness because he never wanted to let her go and promised to do whatever she wanted. The young man also recalls how the lady then told him the information she'd heard from Theon. The girl claimed to have overheard the conversation between the prince and Roxolana. They were far away, so she didn't catch everything. Well, Suleiman is just wondering if the girl was alone in his room. The young lady meanwhile claims she's certain they were talking about transporting some goods to the capital. At first, the Sultan was angered by Togo's presence, but the evidence suggests Dieter's disintegration was a hoax. It was then that he realized the person they imagined didn't exist, as the truth of this information had been confirmed by Ishtar's testimony, and therefore the next target was the goods. The boy also thought about the 10-day deadline and understood that they must solve this case before the deadline, after which he turns to Ivlan and also tells him to examine all the deliveries that come into the capital, and if they notice anything suspicious, then let him report it immediately. He should also, for a while, deploy the governor's entire available workforce, excluding her security detail, since they must restore order in the capital within a month. The young man then asks the gentleman if he has a plan. The man simply thinks his brother was mistaken in thinking he could manipulate him with such a pathetic trick. A short time later, someone asks if his colleague has heard the news about the temple, to which he replies, "Of course, because the whole neighborhood is talking about it. It's impossible not to know about this," and he heard that some priest's son with incredible powers had appeared. The other guy replies that it's all true, because everyone's going crazy saying it's the incarnation of a goddess. One of them then asks if the girl really broke the magic stone without any power, and the other claims that, at this rate, she'll become famous, and people will flock to the temple. He replies to his interlocutor that indeed she supposedly came from Prince Suleiman. At this time, the man who was standing around the corner realizes that wherever he goes, everyone is talking about this girl, and the more rumors spread, the more Hurrem's position as the owner of the cats strengthens, the more the aristocratic village will fall against her, and then she will behead him without hesitation, so the man thinks he must do something to survive.